Viewers, you are watching our special program Discussion on Spiritual Knowledge. Come, let's start with the program and know the views of Jagat Guru Tattvadarshi, Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj versus respected world-class Shankracharya's of pious Hindu religion. Let us know the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Sawroopanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. Who spoke the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
God Shri Krishna told to Arjun.
Do you believe the Purans to be true?
Yes, we do.
You just heard the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swarupanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. Now let us know the views of Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami Shri Nishalanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj.
Shri Shankracharya Ji, do you believe Puranas to be true?
Yes, we do.
Shankracharya Ji, who spoke the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
God Shri Krishna Chandra Ji gave sermon to Arjun. Therefore, at the end of every chapter in Bhagavad Gita, when its introduction is given through the book, then it is called dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjun. Later, on the 11th day, Sanjay gave that knowledge to Dhritarashtra. Gita is expressed through dialogues between Shri Krishna and Arjun that happened before war's first day. Sanjay gave the same preachings to Dhritarashtra sometime later. The same preaching. The Sanjay Dhritarashtra dialogue, great sage Vishampayan Ji gave to Janmejay.
You just heard the views of respected Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami Shri Nishalanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of respected Shri Madhavacharya Maharaj. Do you believe Purans to be true?
They are true.
Who spoke the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
God, Shri Krishna.
You just heard the views of respected Shri Madhavacharya Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of Sringeri Peethadhishwar Shri Bharti Tirth Ji Maharaj.
Do you believe Puranas to be true?
Yes, Puranas are true. How can we believe Purana to be untrue? For us, Puranas are true.
Who spoke the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
God Shri Krishna Ji.
You just heard the views of pious Hindu religion's respected world-class Shankracharyas. Now let us listen to the views of Jagat Guru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj.
सतगुरुदेव की जय। बंदी छोड़ कबीर परमेश्वर जी की जय। बंदी छोड़ गरीबदास जी महाराज जी की जय। स्वामी राम देवानंद जी गुरु महाराज जी की जय हो। गरीब नमो नमो सतपुरुष को नमस्कार। गुरु की नहीं सुर नर मुनि जन साधुओं संतों सर्वसदी नहीं। सतगुरु साहेब संत सब दंडोतम प्रणाम। आगे पीछे मज हुए तिनको जा कुर्बान।
Our souls, you had been listening, especially in the last 2-3 years, that there will be a Holocaust in the year 2012. Now, what meaning of Holocaust they present? That earth will be destroyed. It won't be that Holocaust. It will be Holocaust of immorality. Lawlessness will perish, Holocaust of ignorance, and enlightenment of knowledge. That Holocaust will be in 2012. Father of all, Supreme Soul, Complete God, the Creator of entire universe, Kabir Dev with Kabir Sahibs, grace you, pious souls, are listening to spiritual knowledge. In this, you will gain knowledge about the hidden spiritual facts in our holy scriptures. The knowledge that is not in our holy scriptures, then that is against our scriptures. That practice is against scriptures. There is no use of it earlier. The reason was that our religious leaders did know Sanskrit language. but their spiritual knowledge was zero. They lacked true spiritual knowledge and still do. Who are our religious leaders, Acharya, Shankracharya, and other Mandaleshwars? These all are our religious leaders. They were intellectuals of Sanskrit. Their grammar is also perfect, but they do not have spiritual knowledge. Virtuous souls are religious leaders of Hindu religion, of pious Hindu religion. These respected religious leaders, whatever spiritual knowledge they used to give us, made us understand or told us. They used to say that we have told you the knowledge from pious Ved, pious Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and pious Puranas. So, we had accepted it as they were scholars of Sanskrit, and all our holy scriptures are written in Sanskrit, and the knowledge which they are providing is correct. It is from our scriptures. But now this servant has got to know, because this servant has an eye for true spiritual knowledge. My eyes have become perfect. Earlier, our ancestors, our mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, many generations which were from Hindu religion, all those devotees were illiterate, and they continued doing whatever activities these spiritual leaders told them with full devotion. So, pious souls, today God has made us capable to understand these scriptures ourselves. This servant has done a deep analysis of these holy scriptures, has studied them, and what has been found, that all our Hindu religious leaders, sages, great sages, these Mandaleshwars, Mahants, saints, they all were telling folklore, used to tell legends. They do not have scripture-based knowledge. They are providing knowledge opposite to Veda, Gita and Puranas, and are taking names of these scriptures. The teacher, the instructor, who teaches out of the syllabus, provides knowledge apart from curriculum. That teacher is not correct. He is an enemy of those students, virtuous souls, who is called a teacher. A teacher is a master of his job. He is called a teacher. The instructor, the master, the religious leaders whom the society had given full freedom to read the scriptures and teach us and tell us the knowledge of God which is present in our holy scriptures. They were made free, and even donations were provided to them for their subsistence. They were free to read these scriptures properly and tell us. So those are religious leaders did read scriptures and had even crammed them in Sanskrit language, but they do not know ABC of Ved, Gita and Puran. These Acharya, Shankracharya do not have spiritual knowledge. Now I will provide some proofs to you on who gave the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Pious souls, this is called the true spiritual knowledge. Now everyone believes that if you ask anyone, he immediately replies to who gave the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shri Krishna ji had told, pious souls, if merely saying was enough, then what was the need of gurus to understand these scriptures? Shri Krishna ji does not have a role anywhere in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Pious souls, if you listen to these words, it would be laughable to you, because you have got such gurus till today. You have not analyzed this knowledge and told you who gave Srimad Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. That will be told. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 15, verse number 16 and 17, there are three Purush. One is Kshar Purush, one is Akshar Purush, and one is Paramakshar Purush. In 17th verse, it is said, Supreme God or Uttam Purush is some other. That is Paramakshar Purush. About him, Arjun asked in Gita Ji, chapter number 8, verse number 1, that in chapter 7, verse 29, you provided information of that Brahm, knowing whom the creature only makes effort to get relief from birth and death. So who is that Brahma? In chapter 8 of Gita Ji, in verse number 1, Arjun had questioned this. The knowledge giver of Gita in chapter number 8, verse 3 answered, he is Paramakshar Brahma. Pious souls, who is this Kshar Purush? He is Brahma himself, he is Kal, he is narrating the knowledge of Gita, who is Akshar Purush, who is master of 700 quadrillion universe. He has no role here. Therefore, in our spiritual knowledge, on this earth there is role of two Purush, specifically two gods. One is this Kshar Purush, means Brahm, who is providing knowledge of Gita Ji from within the body of Krishna Ji, who gave Gita knowledge. And second is Paramakshar Brahm, who is Uttam Purush Aste Anya, Paramatma Udhar, Yalok Triyam Avishwa Vibharti, Aveshwaray, in Gita Ji chapter number 15, verse number 17. And chapter number 8, verse 3, the knowledge giver of Gita says, he is Paramakshar Purush. This knowledge giver of Gita says in chapter 8, verse 13, Om iti ekaksharam, Brahma vyavaharam, mam anusamran, ye prayati tejam deham, sayati paramam gatim. Om is my Brahma mantra. One who chants this till his last breath and leaves body obtains all benefits, whatever can be obtained from Om mantra. And what is that? That is Brahmalok. Om is the mantra of Brahma and he lives in Brahmalok. So Brahm is attained. In chapter 8, verse 16, it is written, souls in Brahmalok are in birth-death cycle. So this is also not complete salvation, because souls in Brahmalok are in recurrence. And the knowledge giver of Gita himself says in chapter 2, verse number 12, chapter 4, verse 5 and 9, chapter 10, verse number 2, that you and I have births. Therefore, chapter 8, verse 62, the knowledge giver of Gita says, by all means you go in the refuge of that God. With his grace only you will attain eternal peace and the ultimate abode. In chapter 15, verse 4, it is said that after attaining an enlightened saint, one should search for God's supreme place. Souls do not return to this world after having attained it. And the God who has created all the universes, worship him only. This is what knowledge giver of Gita is saying. With this, it is proved that apart from knowledge giver of Gita, there is some other supreme power. Now, who is giving the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? One who is telling that my mantra is Om. Om mantra is of Brahma. And who is this Brahma? He is Kal. He has taken an oath that he will never appear in front of anyone, and his deeds and births are supernatural. In Gita chapter number 4, verse number 9, he says, Arjun, my birth and deeds are divine, supernatural. Pious souls, now I will tell you in brief who has spoken Srimad Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. Sri Krishna Ji has no role in the knowledge of Gita Ji. How Sri Krishna Ji was not in favor of the war of Mahabharat. He went as a peace messenger 3 times. He tried to convince Kauravas and Pandavas. At last, he decided that I will be on one side and on the other side will be my army. And I will not raise any weapon. He had taken this vow. Pious souls, the great man who says that I will not even raise a weapon, can he suggest a war? No. Now when he saw who this Kal God, he in Gita Ji chapter 7 verse number 24 and 25 clarifies that I remain hidden with my powers. I never appear in front of anyone. This is my firm, bad, inferior rule. Avaya anutam means bad firm rule. What can be worse? That a father does not appear in front of his sons means there is some fault in him. In this way, he clarifies that I remain hidden with his powers, and to me, the unmanifested, invisible, I remain unmanifested. They are considering me Krishna. These foolish people. I am not Krishna. The knowledge giver of Gita says. Now, how are his births and deeds supernatural? He deceives. To some, he appears in form of Brahma. To some, he appears in form of Vishnuji. Then followers start glorifying Vishnuji, that Vishnuji, you are only God and you have kept yourself hidden. In this way, they have illusion. And how are his deeds supernatural? I will show you some evidence in Holy Scriptures. Once there was a war between deities and demons. And demons won. Deities ran leaving the battlefield. Deities collected somewhere and worshipped Lord Vishnu. And Kal took the form of Vishnu, the father of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, who narrated Gita. He appeared there and said, I know what is in your mind. And you can go now. Raise the son of Shasad, named Puranjay, for war. Stand face to face with the demons and prepare him. I will enter his body and kill the devils. I will show you. Look at this Sri Vishnu Puran. This has been published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur. This is Sri Vishnu Puran with pictures, Hindi translation. Sanskrit is also there. Translator is Munilal Gupta. Publisher and printer is Gita Press, Gorakhpur, Govind Bhavan, Karyalaya, Institute of Kolkata, chapter number 2. This is fourth part on 233 page. This is Vishnu Puran. Now I will bring you here to page 233. We will read from here. Aforetime, in Treta era, once a fierce battle was fought between deities and demons, in which deities were defeated by powerful demons, and deities worshipped Lord Vishnu. Then the omnipotent protector of the whole world, Sri Narayan, pleased with deities, said, I know your intention. Whatever you want, I have understood that. Listen this for the same. The princely sage Shasad's son, named Purunjay, I will myself enter into the body of that superior warrior partly, means for some time, and will completely destroy all those devils. Therefore you prepare Purunjay for killing the demons. Alright. Now what did he do? Deities talked and convinced Purunjay, and demons also stood in front. The skull entered inside Purunjay's body because he is master of 1000 powers, has 1000 arms. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are the masters of 16 powers each. He has more power than them. He destroyed all those demons. Now I will give you a second example. Once Gandharv and Nagvanshi people from the snake clan had a battle. Gandharvas defeated Nagsand, robbed all their treasure. Then people of Nag clan gathered and worshipped Lord Vishnu. Then this Kal appeared in the form of Vishnu. He said, you go and prepare Purukutsand. By entering into his body, I will destroy the Gandharvas. Look at the evidence. This is chapter number 3, part 4, Sri Vishnu Puran on page 242. Come here below. This is third chapter. Aforetime, in Rasatal, Mone named 6 crores Gandharvas used to reside. They had seized all precious pearls and authority from the entire snake clan, insulted by the valor of Gandharvas with the worship of those Nageshwars. Upon hearing their prayers, his lotus-like blooming divine eyes opened. Awaken at the end of deep sleep, all supreme deities bow to that God residing underwater. And Naggan said, God, how will the fear generated out of these Gandharvas be removed? Then the omnipresent God Purushottam said, Yuvanashwar's son Mandhata's named Purukut's son. By entering inside him, he has made clear, by entering in I will destroy all those bad Gandharvas. This is made clear. This is how his deeds are supernatural. He says my deeds are divine. In the same way, by entering inside Sri Krishna Ji, he gave the knowledge of Gita, Veda, plus the trick to start the battle. He spoke 18 chapters by the name Srimad Bhagavad Gita. At last, by threatening, by showing the ghastly appearance, by showing terrible look, seeing which even a warrior like Arjun trembled, and at last, fearful Arjun agreed. Arjun understood that he wants to make the war happen, and if I will say no, and he shows that ghastly form one more time, then I will have a heart attack. Therefore, he considered his own well-being, that I have to die. Die in either case. If I fight, I could be killed. If he shows me his ghastly look again, then also I could die. He got familiar with this intention of God, that he wants war. So he said, yes, I have understood everything, whatever you wanted to say, I will fight the battle. Else will Sri Krishna favor a war? When earlier he was refusing that, no, do not have a war, it will be devastation. On this, what do our religious leaders say? That Arjun was not following the Kshatriya religion, therefore God inspired him. Sri Krishna himself was a Kshatriya. When Kalyaban invaded Mathura, God himself ran away from the battlefield, due to which he is called Ranchhod God. At that time, he had also given up his Kshatriya duties so that devastation is avoided, destruction should not happen. So can that person advise to follow this Kshatriya duties? Can he advise for such destruction? So pious souls, now we ourselves need to get familiar with these scriptures. Alright, whatever knowledge they had provided till their level, let it remain with them. Now we will worship according to holy scriptures and get knowledge. Now I will show you that Sri Krishna Ji does not know what is said in Gita Ji. I will show you. Pious souls, the battle of Mahabharata was over. Kauravas were destroyed, Pandavas were enthroned. At that time, Kal left the body of Sri Krishna Ji. Only Sri Krishna Ji existed. Only he was present. One day Sri Krishna Ji said that now I will leave for Dwarka and you rule. Arjun said, God, do a sermon, preach us some spiritual knowledge because you are our master. Do one sermon and then go. The audience was sitting in front. Arjun and Krishna were roaming. There they were waiting for the discourse. Devotees were arriving. At that time, Arjun said to Sri Krishna Ji, God, please tell me the same knowledge which you gave at the time of war. Means tell the knowledge of Gita Ji. I have forgotten it due to fault of my memory. I do not remember. Sri Krishna Ji says that you are very disrespectful, Arjun. You are very silly. Why did you not remember that knowledge? He is scolding Arjun that why did you not remember, and is himself saying that I cannot repeat the entire same knowledge now because at that time I had spoken that knowledge by being connected with God. Well, man, when during dangerous and awful time of a war you can get connected to God, then what is the problem in getting connected to God during peace? Get connected now, it takes 2 minutes only. Had he narrated that knowledge? Actually, he had not. Kal had spoken it after entering the body of Sri Krishna, like you observe. One ghost enters into the body of some other, and that ghost speaks. It talks a lot. After it leaves that body, and when the person is conscious, then others tell him that you spoke this and that. The person does not know anything what he said. Others only tell him. Then he starts saying that one day I spoke like this. Similarly, after entering the body of Sri Krishna Ji, by suppressing his soul, this Kal had spoken everything. And after he left, it was the original Krishna. And what did he speak? I will show you. Look, this is concise Mahabharata. This is second section. Published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur. Editor and translator is Jai Dayal Goenka. Published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur. From Gita Press, Gorakhpur on page number 667. This is concise Mahabharat. We come here. Janmejay asked Brahman, after the destruction of enemies, at that time sage Sri Krishna and Arjun were seated in the house and were conversing. At that time, what discussion happened amongst them? Vaishampayanji said, King, along with Sri Krishna, when Arjun had got complete authority of the state, then they started living in the divine palace happily. One day, surrounded by their relatives, both the friends were roaming and reached a part of the assembly hall that was beautiful as heaven. The son of Pandav, Arjun, was very happy living with Sri Krishna. Looking at that delightful audience, he said to God, Devki Nandan, at the time of the war, I gained knowledge about your greatness and had your divine appearance. But Keshav, out of the affection, the knowledge which you have provided earlier, all that I have forgotten it due to the fault of memory. My mind becomes anxious again and again to listen that subject, that is Srimad Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. You will go to Dwarka soon, therefore tell me all that knowledge again. Vaishampayanji says, on these words of Arjun, superior amongst the speakers, the stunning god Sri Krishna hugged him and replied in this way. Sri Krishna ji said, Arjun, at that time I had told you a highly confidential subject regarding my eternal superior divine form. I had also described all regions, but due to your carelessness, you do not remember all those preachings. I am highly upset knowing this. Remembering all that completely does not seem possible now. Son of Pandav, you definitely are very faithless. Your memory does not seem to be sharp. For me to repeat the same preaching now, as it is seeming difficult because at that time I had described about the elements of God by being connected with God, virtuous souls. Now you will understand properly that who spoke the knowledge of Sri Krishna ji had no role in the knowledge of Gita ji. They themselves are confirming that example. This servant is giving you this sermon, and you ask me this subject after 10 years, the discourse which I did, please narrate again. You can try, I will tell at that very moment because I have said this in my complete conscious state. If some ghost is speaking from within me, then I will say the same as Sri Krishna is saying, that you do not remember what kind of a person you are. You are faithless, foolish. Well, man, this servant will do discourse, and a first-time listener remembers only 20% of the discourse. And then I scold him that why did you not remember? So with this, it is proved that the frustrated cat is scratching the pillar. This pillar he does not have the knowledge himself and is scolding Arjun that why didn't you remember? What happened to you? When during such a dangerous time of a war, a man can get connected with God, now it is peace. By all means, he has peace of mind. One can get connected with God easily. The point is, virtuous souls, that Sri Krishna had no role in providing the knowledge of Gita. Who has given the knowledge of Gita? This Kal has given it. In Gita, chapter number 11, verse 32, he himself says, Arjun, I am Kal. And see, this is my original form in front of you. And this form means the form which I just showed you. Of this form, no one had its vision earlier, neither will anyone have later. I have shown my divine form to you as mercy on you. My souls, if Sri Krishna ji was speaking Gita, then he would not have said these words that this is my giant form no one has seen earlier, because Sri Krishna ji had already shown his giant form in the assembly of Kauravas. In that giant form and this, there is a difference of day and night. My souls, one is a 60-watt bulb, tube, and one is of 1000 watt. So how much is the difference? Both are tubes, but the 1000 watt one is different from 60 watt one. So in the same way, both had shown their huge forms, but there is a big difference. Sri Krishna ji cannot speak these words that earlier no one has seen, and no one can see it later. With this, it is proved that the knowledge giver of Gita is not Sri Krishna. Kal spoke it by entering his body. He is the Lord of 1000 arms, of 1000 powers, Sahastra Bahu. In chapter 11, verse 21, Arjun says that, O Sahastra Bahu, O the 1000 armed God, come to that same 4-armed form of yours. Because he was considering him Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna is Vishnu. Vishnu is the Lord of 4 arms. Now, from the analysis of this servant, you will know who spoke Srimad Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. Another evidence is that Sri Krishna was the brother-in-law of Arjun. Sri Krishna's sister was married to Arjun, Subhadra ji. He forgot to recognize his brother-in-law. Hence, he was not Sri Krishna. He came outside from Sri Krishna. He was Kal. Like this, he showed his furious form, and Sri Krishna is standing separate. He disappeared in his brightness. Then Arjun asks, O great man, who are you? I do not recognize you. So, was he Sri Krishna? There were a lot of other evidences that Sri Krishna ji did not give the knowledge of Gita. Sri Krishna ji never called himself Kal earlier. Later, he never called himself Kal. All those cows, cow herders, milkmaids, all had affection for Sri Krishna. They used to look at him, stare at him. Can he be Kal? Pious souls, Srimad Bhagavad Gita's knowledge, Kshar Purush Brahma has given, who is the father of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and our religious leaders call him Param Brahma. To this Kal, that he is formless, when he came in form, he became Sadashiv.
You just heard the views of Jagadguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal ji Maharaj. Let us hear the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Saroopanand Saraswati ji Maharaj. According to Gita, what is the benefit of pilgrimage, fasting, tarpan and carrying out shraddhs?
All these are for eliminating men's narrow-mindedness. If you give some food to other creature from your food, or giving respect to visitors, then these are to eliminate your heart's narrow-mindedness.
You just heard the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swarupanand Saraswati ji Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami Shri Nishilanand Saraswati ji Maharaj.
According to Gita, what is the benefit of pilgrim, fasting, tarpan and by carrying out shraddhs?
या शास्त्र विधि मुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारता न सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम.
These are God Sri Krishna Chandra's words. Gita indicates towards scriptures. Method of marriage is not in Gita, nor the method of sacrifice, nor the method of shraddh. Gita indicates that ancient memories consider Vedic scriptures as proof to decide our roles and responsibilities. Alright? So, shraddhs have support, tarpan has support. In the first chapter itself, Arjun has expressed concern that the activity to offer sacrifice might fade. And God Shri Krishna's heaven is described. Shrinapurnam Arshalokan Vishanti, Urdhvam Gardhvam Sashvasthaha. Therefore, in Gita, Shraddh, Tarpan and other scripture-based activities are all valid. In the name of Gita Shraddh, Tarpanetic activities cannot be refuted.
You just heard the views of respected Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami Shri Nishilanand Saraswati ji Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of respected Shri Madhvacharya Maharaj. Pilgrimage, fasting, tarpan and by carrying out shraddh, is there any benefit according to Gita?
Yes, very big benefit. Through pilgrimage, all the sins will be destroyed. with Tarpan, Shraads, deceased ancestors will be liberated. So there are benefits.
You just heard the views of respected Sri Madhvacharya Maharaj. Come, now let's listen to the views of Sringeri Peethadhishwar Sri Bharti Tirth Ji Maharaj.
Piligram, fasting, tarpan, and by carrying out Shraddh, is there any benefit or not according to Gita ji?
Scriptures mention about these deeds. Therefore, by observing scriptures, humans attain ultimate peace.
You just heard the views of pious Hindu religion's respected world-class Shankracharyas. Now let us listen to the views of Jagadguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj.
सतगुरुदेव की जय। बंदी छोड़ कबीर परमेश्वर जी की जय। बंदी छोड़ गरीबदास जी महाराज जी की जय। स्वामी राम देवानंद जी गुरु महाराज जी की जय हो। गरीब नमो नमो सतपुरुष को नमस्कार, गुरु की नहीं सुर नर मुनि जन साधुओं संतों सर्वसदी नहीं। सतगुरु साहेब संत सब दंडोतम प्रणाम, आगे पीछे मज हुए तिनको जा कुर्बान।
Pious souls, they carry out shraddhs. From where have they taken this? Whereas in Vedas it is prohibited that shraddhs should not be carried out. These are ghost worships. If you worship ghost, you will become a ghost. In Gita Ji chapter 9 verse 25 it is said, those who worship ghost become ghost. Worship of ancestors will become pitras. Those who worship deities will go to deities and become their servant. And if you worship me, you will attain me. In Gita Ji, all of this has been refused. Worshipping ancestors, ghost worship, observing 13th day of death, picking up body bones and pouring in river Ganga. All these are not correct practices. These practices are against Vedas. These should not be done. And these are religious leaders. Keep us engaged in them. Pious souls, today God has made us capable to understand these scriptures ourselves. This servant has done a deep analysis of these holy scriptures, has studied them, and what has been found in them, that all our Hindu religious leaders, sages, great sages, these Mandaleshwars, Mahants, saints, they all were telling folklore, used to tell legends. They do not have scripture-based knowledge. They are providing knowledge opposite to Ved, Gita and Puranas, and are taking names of these scriptures. The teacher, the instructor, who teaches out of the syllabus, provides knowledge apart from curriculum. That teacher is not correct. He is the enemy of those students. And this has been the reason, virtuous souls, by abandoning scripture-based worship and by arbitrary worship, our religious leaders have made all our ancestors ghosts. They have put them in 84 lakh life forms, and then they tell procedures for them, carry out shraddhs, offer pind, do these activities which are against Gita Ji. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 9, verse number 25, it is said, those who worship ghosts will be obtained to ghosts, carrying out shraddhs, offering pind, observing 13th day of death, and pouring bones for salvation, etc. are all ghost worship. Those who will do this will become ghosts. Those who worship deities will be obtained to deities. Those who worship ancestors will become pitras, and the knowledge giver of Gita says, who worships me will attain me. We stopped worshipping God and started worshipping ghosts, carrying out shraddhs, etc. By abandoning scripture-based worship, we kept doing arbitrary worship and kept on suffering. This was wrong practice. What does God say? That प्रेतशिला पर जा विराजे फिर पितरों पिंड भराई, बहुर श्राद्ध खान को आए, ये काग भय कली माही. God says, they are seated as ghosts. They have become ghosts by doing worship wrong, and then they offer pin to Pitras. Bahur Shraddh Khan ko aaye, ye kaag bhai kalmahi. By souls they carry out shraddhs. From where have they taken this? Whereas in Ved, this is prohibited, that shraddhs should not be carried. This is worship of ghost. If you worship ghost, you will become ghost. In Gita Ji chapter 9 verse 25 it is said, those who worship ghost will be obtained to ghost. Worshippers of ancestors will become pitras. Those who worship deities will go to deities and become their servant. And if you worship me, you will attain me. In Gita Ji, all this has been refused. Worshipping ancestors, ghosts, observing 13th day of death, picking up bones and pouring them in Ganga for salvation, all these are against our holy scriptures. These practices are against Vedas. These should not be done. And these our religious leaders keep us engaged in them, that carry out Shraddh, 13th day, by souls. God says,
रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया सत्य गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया. रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया सत्य गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया. अपने लला के बाल उतरवावे देख के चीना लग जइया.
an old woman will take her grandson or granddaughter where? To Gurgaon, at their respected place, wherever that is. A barber is seated there. Ignorant religious leaders have given us an advice that birth hairs of the child should be shaved to the goddess at your respected place. Now the old woman takes her grandchildren along with her daughter-in-law, and there the barber is seated. The old woman says to him that, Barber, cut my grandson's hair. If outside the barber cuts for ₹5, then at that place he will charge ₹10 double, because he knows there is no apart from him to cut. He will charge double, and then the old woman will say, cut quickly, and will say, Barber, be careful, my grandson's head is very delicate. The scissor should not hurt him. Cut slowly, brother. God says she gets her grandson's hair cut, and she worries so much that the scissor might not hurt. And then you slaughter a baby goat. What an innocent world. He was also someone's child whom you are sacrificing, but so much care for your child that even the scissor should not touch. God says, like you feel pain for yourself, consider the same for others. And what will the old woman do with those hair? She will offer in the temple on the idol. There the priest is seated. He will immediately put them in a bag, in a sack. And when that sack gets filled by evening, he will throw them in the garbage. He won't deposit them in the bank. He needs to throw them outside. God says, you get them cut here and throw here itself. There is no use of this. They have fooled you. They are running a business.
अपने लला के बाल उतरवावे देख के चीना लग जइया. एक बकरी का बच्चा लेके उसका गला कटैया. रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया सत्य गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया. रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया सत्य गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया. कच्चा पक्का भोजन बनावे फिर माता धोकने गैया. कच्चा पक्का भोजन बना के फिर माता धोकने गैया. उस माता ऊपर कुत्ता मुते वो क्यों ना मर गैया. रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया. रे भोड़ी सी दुनिया गुरु बिन कैसे सरिया.
Our grandmother asked us to worship goddess. To our aunt's mother, she would say, prepare thick fat jaggery bread. If there is delay, then she says, keep it half cooked. then new dogs will eat it. Or is there some goddess to eat them? There is a goddess of 2.5 feet height. They had made a small platform. The old woman steps on that to offer those bread. Before she comes down, 3-4 dogs would climb on that. First they will eat the food of that grandmother, and while leaving, they will urinate on that idol. God says if that goddess, whom you went to offer for protection, worshipped her so that she provides some protection to us, on her head dogs urinate. So how can she provide protection to you, old woman? Now what does God tells?
आपे लिपे आपे पोते और आपे बनावे ओई और उस पे बुढ़िया फिर पोते मांगे। देख अकल कहाँ से खोई?
We saw one holy goddess being worshipped. They used to make one woman's picture on the wall. They themselves used to make it, and by lighting a lamp in front of it, they would say, "O holy goddess, provide a son to daughter-in-law. I worship you to keep protecting my family." God says, themselves they have made.
आपे लिपे आपे पोते आपे बनावे ओई और उस पे बुढ़िया पोते मांगे। देख अकल कड़े तक खोई। इस तरह के जो भैया।
What God makes us remember is that
जाटी पूजे पीपल पूजे और सिर तुलसा के हो और दूध पूत में खैर रखिए न्यो पूजू हो तो
they worship roots, pour water into people tree, and then they worship Tulsi goddess. Why do we worship? So that they provide protection to our family. See our wisdom. This was our religious leaders' guidelines to us. By abandoning scripture-based worship and following arbitrary worship, they have made all ghosts. Then what does God tell?
जीवित बाप के लठम लठा और मुए गंग पुचैया और जब आवे आसुज का महीना और वो कौवा बाप बनैया रे बोड़ी सी दुनिया सतगुरु बिन कैसे सरिया.
When the father is alive, they have strained relations, useless souls, and after his death, they will try for his salvation. Look, pious souls, from where our religious leaders start his salvation after the death. First, they will say, pick up his bones and pour in river Ganga. He will have salvation. Well, what do? One man had not taken initiation. His wife had taken initiation. But he did not stop his wife. He was familiar with the knowledge, but there was a hurdle in front of him that when my father will die, and if I do not pour his bones in river Ganga, then my soul will not be at peace. So I will not take initiation. One day she was telling his wife that my elder father-in-law died, means his uncle, and they took his bones to shore of river Ganga. Those priests who are seated there have divided their areas that this is mine, this is yours. The moment you go, they ask where you have come. It was told that they have come from Sonipat. Come, you are ours. They hold him there. He saw that they opened and told their entire history. What did they say? He said, Yajman, you came after a long time. See, she was saying that her husband was telling that his mind clicked and these enemies are eagerly waiting for us to die daily. They say you have come after a long time for getting salvation. Then he told after that my mind moved away from that place, that the whole day they desire for our happenings by souls. The salvation they do is that the ash bones have been poured into Ganga. Salvation happened. Then they say observe 13th day. Why 13th? For salvation. Alright, that is also done. Then they say carry out his shraddhs. Earlier every month it is done. Then in the 6th month they make big arrangements. And after 1 year it gets completed. They used to finish that in 1 year. Whole year they were engaged in salvation. Then what do? God says,
प्रेत शिला पे जा विराजे पितरों पिंड भराई.
then offer pind. The deceased ancestors will be liberated.
और परमात्मा क्या कहते हैं? जीवित बाप के लट्ठम लट्ठा हर मुए गंग पुचैया. और जब आया आसोज का महीना कौआ बाप बनैया रे बोली सी दुनिया.
Then came the time of Shraddhs in Asoj month. On whichever date the family member died, our religious leaders noted that date in Asoj month from new moon till full moon day. If someone died on a date, then a special program is done on that date to carry out Shraddh. And first, what they do, after preparing food, they keep it up there on the terrace. At that time, crows come and eat. Then what do our religious leaders say? Look, your father has eaten. He might have become a crow. Well, man, salvation was the aim but ended making a crow. These are their practices.
अब परमात्मा कहते हैं प्रेत शिला पे जा विराजे पितरों पिंड भराई. और बहुत सरहद खान को आए काग बने कलमाई.
What is told further?
जय सतगुरु की संगत करते सकल कर्म कट जाई. अमरपुरी पर आसन होते जहां धूप न छाई.
Now what does God say? Had you accompanied a correct Guru, if Satguru was fine, then you would have gotten rid of all these deeds, neither carrying out shraddhs, nor becoming ghosts, not going in crows or animal life. Then what would have happened in the immortal abode, Amarpuri, the place which never gets destroyed, Satlok? Sanatan, ultimate abode, is attained if Satguru is found. All these mess gets over. And these are gurus, our religious leaders. They say Shraddh should definitely be carried. They have taken contract to spoil our deeds. Pious souls, pious Hindu religions, scriptures, all four Vedas and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and the fifth Ved, which is God Kabir Ji's speech, which is spoken from his holy mouth, has complete spiritual knowledge. That is summary of all holy scriptures. That was not touched by them because scholars of Sanskrit had rejected it, saying Kabir Sahib's speech is speech of an illiterate. Due to this, they did not let it come to us. We have Puranas. What are the Puranas? Gita and Vedas. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is summary of all four Vedas. But in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, this Kal God has put some trick to start the war that appears differently and which matches with Ved. That knowledge of Gita Ji is pure. It is absolutely true. Because the knowledge of Ved is God-given, that is God-given. Therefore, we have to follow God's command. What are Puranas? This is Brahma Ji given knowledge. From Brahma Ji they heard, then few other sages overheard knowledge from some others and prepared the script and made Puranas. In Vedas, these Shraddhs etc. rituals are denied. And also in Gita Ji it is prohibited. In chapter 9 verse 25 it has been clarified that those who worship ghosts will become ghosts. Look at this. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur. Jai Dayal Goenka is its translator. This is chapter number 9. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, verse number 25. Worshippers of deities will be obtained to deities. Worshippers of Pitras will be obtained to Pitras. And worshippers of ghosts will be obtained to ghosts. And those who worship me will attain me. Now from where have these Shraddhs come from? I will show you a glimpse of what is written in Puranas. There is Markandeya Puran. There was one Brahman named Ruchi, a sage. And he understood Vedas, read them. He was a learned soul and understood that human life is provided only to attain salvation. Therefore, he did not get married remained a bachelor. He was 40 years old and he used to live in the forests. No house or hut was built, thinking that salvation has to be attained. What is to collect life is for 2 days. Now, Ruchi was worshipping according to Vedas. His father, grandfather, great grandfather, and fourth grandfather had died and had become ghosts. They were also sages, Brahman. They also did and made others do same rituals. Then obviously they were to become ghosts. All those four appeared and said, "Son, why did you not get married? After marriage, you would have carried out our shraddhs. We would have got salvation." Ruchi said, "Respected fathers, Vedas have prohibited them. These shraddhs and this arbitrary practice is the path of fools." And those Pitra also say that, "Son, yes, it is like that. There is no doubt in that. That is true. But what will happen to us? You go to hell, what will happen to you? They themselves died, now preparing their son for death." Look at this, Markandeya Puran. This has been published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur, on 242 page. Concise Markandeya Puran. Genesis of Ruchi sage. Markandeya ji says Brahman, aforetime master of people Ruchi, devoid of affection and arrogance, used to live on the earth. He was not afraid of anyone. He used to sleep very less. Neither he had established fire, nor he had built a house for himself. He used to eat food once, and used to live without home. Seeing him devoid of all indulgences and living in a saint form, his Pitra said to him, "Look, these four came. They have become ghosts. See this, he is sage Ruchi. These are before him, those ghosts. All have become ghosts by worshipping ghosts. Now they all appeared to him together." Pitra said, "Son, marriage is a very important act." These are the words of these Pitras who are offering their advice. Now see, why did you not do that? A family man, by all deities, Pitras, sages, and guests' service, is attained to higher realms. He, by uttering Swaha to the deities with Swadha, word to Pitras, and by donating grains, sacrifice, Vaishnav Dev, etc. to ghosts and other creatures, guests, he dedicated them their portion. Son, we believe that by not accepting the married life in this life, you will have to face suffering, and after death, as well as in next births, you will have to bear sufferings. Ruchi said, "Ancestors, marriage only is the cause of great sorrow and sin, and with that humans' decline happens. Thinking this, I did not get married." Now see here. The Pitra said, "Son, soul's purification after controlling the senses is appropriate, but the path which you are following is the path of salvation." See this, they are considering the salvation path as inferior. Your deeds and path you are following is salvation path. And now we will tell you the way to become Pitra. Ruchi asked, "Respected fathers, arbitrary practice is called ignorance in Vedas. What you are advising is arbitrary practice, carrying out shraddhs, worship ancestors, that is told to be worship of fools. Then why are you directing me to that path?" Pitra also said, "It is true that arbitrary worship is called ignorance. There is no doubt about this. Then, do you had any mind? What has remained else? This is written in our Puranas." To this, Pitras also agree that the practice you are doing is salvation path, and then they are advising him to worship ghosts, carry out shraddhs, get married, and this is the path to hell. They themselves agree that the path you are following is salvation path, And Ruchi says in Vedas, this is said to be worship of fools, worshipping ancestors, ghosts, carrying out shraddhas, and pitras are also accepting, yes, it is like this, there is no doubt in this. Then this wrong advice, nuisance, do this, Pitra will do like this, Pitra can provide son, they can give us a thing, they themselves are starving, they have made us fools. I will show you glimpse in this Markandeya Puran, from where have they taken the concept of Shraddh. There was one woman named Mandal Sant, she gave education to her son, and they are taking. See, I am telling you this from Markandeya Puran. From page 81, we will take some. Mandalsa said, Maharaj, this Mandalsa is providing knowledge on page 82, concise. Markandeya Puran. See here. Now what advice is she providing? That the Pitra who are in deity region and in Triyag life form, they have become animals or birds, and those who are in human birth are in ghost form. They have become ghosts. They may be virtuous souls or sinful souls. When are perplexed by hunger and thirst, then the human via his deeds satisfies them by offering pind and water. In this way, to deities and guests, he keeps them satisfied. Deities, humans, pitra ghosts, phantom guhak, birds, worms and insects, etc. also maintain their sustenance from humans. Now what is she telling? Either those ancestors who are in deities region or who are in Triyag life form and those who are in human life form, means have become ghosts, etc., dead ancestors, they may be virtuous souls or sinful souls, all are dying hungry and thirsty, all fake. Can they be in deities region and die, starving or with thirst? Now what they tell next, look at this concise Markandeya Puran on 92 page. Amongst them who reside in hell, who are in animal and bird life forms, and who are in ghosts and phantom etc. life forms, carrying out shraddhas, for all of them methodically satisfied them. How does he do? Listen, the grains which humans scatter on earth, with that the ancestors in the vampire's life form get fulfillment. With the grains that they scatter on earth, sun, the water that drops from bathing clothes, with that the ancestors in tree life form get fulfillment. Those who have become trees, regarding them she is telling that after bathing, the clothes that are squeezed, with that those in tree life get fulfillment. Well man, once God Kabirji went to Ganges river in Kashi. A Ganges dock was made. There those Brahmans to the sun, means like this facing towards the sun, they would pick water from the Ganges and pour there itself. Kabir Sahib entered into the Ganges till knee level and started doing like this. He started throwing the water of Ganga on the track with full speed. All those priests left their work and started looking towards Kabir Sahib. They said, "Oh Kabir, what are you doing?" Kabirji said, "What were you doing? I did not ask, then why are you asking from me? First you tell me what you were doing." They said, "We are sending water to our ancestors in heaven. We are pouring water here by chanting mantras, by facing the sun. This will be received there in heaven by our hungry and thirsty ancestors." God said, "I have put a nursery next to my hut and I am watering that," and continued. Then they started saying, "You innocent man, how will this go so far? This water is lying here only. How will this small nursery that you have put next to your hut be watered with this?" Then God said, "If lakhs of kilometers away, miles apart, your ancestors in heaven can get this water, then what problem will arise for just 2 kilometers? So they kept quiet. The priests then admitted their mistake, took refuge of God, pious souls. Here it is the same system. Look next. In Markandeya Puran, we are reading on 92 page. With that, the ancestors in tree form get fulfillment. Well, the tree is so huge, and they squeeze water off the clothes on the shore of river Ganga. Tell, how can that tree get fulfillment in that buckets full of water needs to be poured? See how they have made us fools. Look, the drops of water that fall on earth from our body after bathing, with that, those ancestors who have become deities get fulfillment. Now look at their brains. They say after bathing, the drops that fall on the earth, no. Those ancestors who have become deities get fulfillment from it. Did they become deities who will get fulfillment with this water there? They have spoiled our judgment. Look, the drops of water that fall on the earth from our body after bathing, with that, those ancestors who have become deities get fulfillment. And by pind, they made us offer pind, food particles that fall on earth. With that, those ancestors in animals and bird life form get fulfillment. In animal life form, she might be standing as a buffalo. Who was their mother, grandmother or aunt? If the particles fall on the earth somewhere, that buffalo which eats a crate full of husk daily, with one particle, how will she get fulfillment? Look how foolish they have made us. In a family, the child who remained devoid even after being eligible for the ritual of Shraddh, means died in childhood, did not carry out Shraddhs, then he receives the scattered grains and leftover water. The Brahmins wash their hands and mouth and wash their feet after meal. So from that water also several ancestors get fulfillment. Son performing Shraddh with superior method, those men's other ancestors means who have attained other life forms, then also with Shraddhs they get much satisfaction. With unjustly earned money, the Shraddhs that are done, with that ancestors in Chandal's life form get fulfillment. Now as ghosts, ancestors who may have become trees somewhere, some might have become a buffalo or an ox, they say they will also be satisfied. They need to eat 10 kgs at one time, then their stomach gets filled. Once respected Garib Das Sahib Ji, who was from village Chodani, whom God has met and took to Sachkhand and brought him back, then he had given this knowledge. There was one disciple of him, a farmer, and he used to sit for a long time with Garib Das Sahib Ji daily and listen to the discourse. During the day he used to sit and listen. One day he did not come. Garib Das Ji asked, when he reached next day, why did you not come yesterday? He told, yesterday was my mother's Shraddh. A priest had come and he carried out Shraddh and I remained busy whole day. He said, fine. Then he said, tomorrow also I will not be able to come. Garib Das Ji asked, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is my father's Shraddh. So he said, fine. Garib Das Sahib Ji used to make them understand, but our mind does not work. We give more importance to worldly affairs. Garib Das Ji said, brother, do one thing. When your priest completes your father's Shraddh, after that you bring food for 2 people here. That person thought Guruji might be wanting for himself. When his priest completed all rituals, preparations, given food to crows, after that he brought 2 people's food to Garib Das Ji's house. Garib Das Ji was also a householder, had kids, was a farmer, but had got familiar with God with true spiritual knowledge. He had a farm, that devotee's farm, in that there was a hut, one small pond which is called lake, and that person brought food for 2. Garib Das Ji said, come follow me. Now that person thought some saint might have arrived in farms. They usually come to meet him. Reaching there, from that lake, from that pond 1 kilometer away, those ponds which were for animals to drink water, they used to store water in them. Around that herds used to grow, bunch of bushes used to form. At 200-foot distance, Garib Das Ji sat and that person also sat down. There he said, he called name of that person's mother and father and said, come, your son has brought food for you. From there, one male and one female jackal came and stood there. There was the spectacle of Garib Das ji. He said, "Son, this is your mother, this is your father, feed them food." He opened and kept it there. Both ate. In 1 minute they ate and ran away. Now Garib Das ji said, "What was your Guruji saying? Your ancestors, in whichever life form they are, will they be satisfied for 1 year by providing food for 1 day?" Yes, priest was saying like this. Both of them were starving of hunger. Look, they ate whole food and you had just come after feeding them. From that day he held his ears. Let all this nuisance go to hell. That dear soul left all that folklore and legend, those arbitrary practices. Now, pious souls, God says that 1 day you provide food, accept that, but when your father and mother were alive, they used to eat twice in a day, and you say, by eating 1 day, there is no need for 364 days. Is this possible? 1 day you fed them for 364 days, what will they eat? Assume your father has become a crow. Then feed him every day 2 breads and throw up every day so that his stomach remains filled. There is no use of doing this drama for 1 day. The point is that they have become what they were to become. Virtuous souls, now when we will do true worship, doing this practice, your ancestors, ghosts, phantoms, etc., in whichever life forms they are, they will also get salvation with your worship. You continue doing your worship, and when the time will come, all your ancestors will also be liberated with this worship.
Now in Puranas, it is mentioned that if 1000 Brahmans are eating during Shraddhs of Pitras, ancestors, what they told us is that for Pitras you should feed Brahmans in odd numbers, means in 1, 3, 5, 7. For rest, it should be in even numbers. They should dine in these numbers. And in Vishnu Puran it is written that if 1000 Brahmans are eating, having food, and in front of them one ascetic means devotee, true devotee, true worshipper who is the worshipper of Almighty Paramakshar Brahm, he in reality is a devotee. He is an ascetic. Yogi does not mean that he can shake stomach's water and is doing exercise. No, this is not yogi. Consider this a natural path. He is a hermit. Yogi's meaning is a devotee, one who is making efforts to meet with God. He is an ascetic. He is a devotee, means true worshipper. Look at this, Sri Vishnu Puran. Its translator is Munilal Gupt. This has been published by Gita Press, Gorakhpur. This is chapter number 16. Third part on page number 213. Here it is written, O king, the man who performs Shraddh, the world gods, ancestors, and family members all remain satisfied. O king, the foundation of forefathers is the moon, and moon's base is yog, devotion. Therefore, it is superior to appoint an ascetic in Shraddh, means a true worshipper. O king, one who eats food during Shraddh, if in front of 1000 Brahmans there is just one true worshipper, then he, along with the hosts, redeems everyone, means of the Brahmans and of the host as well. He absolves all, not just the ancestors. Pious souls, you all are true worshippers here, and the devotee who donates here, he is feeding you. Then your ancestors will be liberated. believe this truth. This is such an amazing path. They have not accepted the truth. They have accepted the false. Virtuous souls, in Ruchi sage's story, you have seen in Markandeya Puran that in Vedas, these arbitrary practices are called ignorance, and the ancestors also agreed because they were also Brahmins, sages, and now they say it will be our misery if you will not carry out shraddhs. Like one devotee said, if our father appears and if he says, son, do our shraddhs, so why will he not do it? It has to be carried out. What stupid argument? Pious souls, there is a procedure for that. Like someone's son falls into the well. He is shouting, drown, drowned. What is its solution? Shall we drown along with him? Dive in? Shall jump? He would also die along. There is a method to save him as well. First tie a strong rope up, then throw it down, hold that and go and bring him out. If these ancestors are seen, then do not drown along with him. Do not carry his shraddhs. That would be like jumping into the well and dying along. For that, this is the rope which the servant is providing to you. Do this true worship, do donation, and everyone's reformation of these ancestors will automatically happen. This you have read also, because these devotees are true worshippers. Here lakhs of true worshippers eat within 1 month, and for feeding only one, they are advising so much benefit. This true spiritual knowledge and worship based on scriptures, with this your as well as your ancestors' well-being will be done. Like you just heard that in Ved as arbitrary practice is told to be worship of fools. This is absolutely correct. What are Vedas? They are divine's laws. These are the order of God, and what is written in our Puranas is by our ancestors or of Brahmaji or likes, who was Mandalsa, tell her words are accepted to be correct and all started doing like this, or of some other sage told it. This is their order. We do not have to follow that. Once a man had friendship with a police officer, SHO. That man's neighbor used to trouble him a lot. He told this to his friend SHO, that brother, my neighbor is adjacent house, gives me a lot of trouble. I told him everything, asked others to talk, but he is not listening. What to do? The SHO said, hit him with a stick. I will deal with it myself. Obeying the order of the SHO friend, thinking my friend will manage, that man fought with his neighbor. He fought, hit him on his head with a stick. His neighbor died. That SHO was the officer of that region. He arrested his friend and put him into the prison. That man received a death sentence. It was the rule of the king that if anyone will kill someone, then he will receive a death sentence. That man violated the constitution by obeying the order of his SHO friend, with which broke the law of the king, and he got the punishment. In the same way, consider the order that is written in Puranas to be of the SHO, and consider Vedas to the law of God. If God's constitution is broken on those SHO's words, Puranas, or by these fake religious leaders' words, from these who make us worship against the scriptures by the order of these saints, priests, if we do these activities, then we will be penalized, we will become hosts, and will get punishment of death. Such a mistake we will not do, should not do. One living example this servant will give to you. My respected Guruji was born in Brahman clan. In Haryana, district Bhiwani, near Charkhi Dadri, there is one Petavas village, Big Petavas. He used to live there. He worked as a farmer. Clan was Brahman. Pious souls, clan is not caste specific. This servant says this many times so that some Brahman might frown that this is said about Brahmans. No. In the farms, my Gurudev, born in Brahman clan, was grazing cows in his farms earlier, there used to be many jungles, a lot of forests. One day he met my grandfather, Guruji, means with a saint. Inspired from him, he wanted to leave house and asked Gurudev's address. He became familiar with entire knowledge in the fields when he was grazing cows in evening. There were other companions too. The herdsman, he told them, I will come after nature's call. In case I am late, then you take animals along. I will come on my own. He went in the forest, deep inside. The cowherds brought cows in their village. It got late in the evening when he did not return. His childhood name, the village name, was Haridwari, Pandit Haridwari. He has changed his name so that no one would identify him. He left home. What he did, the clothes which he was wearing, he removed them. He had taken 2 sets of clothes from home that day. He had taken 1 extra pair, which he hid, and took the clothes which he was wearing. He tore them, and some wild animal had eaten another animal. Some deer lion had eaten. He had seen that during the day. On it he threw those clothes and went. Overnight he reached Haridwar. The family members waited for an hour or two. They asked from cowherds that Haridwari did not come. They told that he said, I will come after nature's call. You move. They took those kids along. They told where he entered and pointed this way. Earlier there were no torch. They carried lanterns and candles in hands and went. They saw that the child has been eaten. Some wild animal had eaten. He died, became blind, started crying from far. It was dark. They collected the body of that animal and clothes, and in the night they cremated, thinking he has died. Then they started observing 13th day of death. Earlier every month it was done. Every month Brahmins used to eat. Those Brahmins are different who perform these practices. They did everything. The anniversary was also done. Then started the Shraddhs, as he died childless, without kids. He had died, and he should be served nicely because you are eating what was his right. He had land on his name, and he became a devotee, saint, and was liberating the world. Once, when my respected Gurudev ji reached 105, 106 years of age, and preparation started to go to Satlok, in Talwandi Bhai, district Firozpur, was his ashram. One was in Khanna, one in Moga, one ashram was in Nazafgarh. He used to live more in Talwandi Bhai. He had given the order for giving name initiation to this servant. At that time, a lot had become disciples of this slave in his presence. 2 kids were appointed for service, were left in his service. A message came that Guruji has arrived here in Pentavas. The servant also reached along with 2-3 devotees by a car. We saw Guruji was sitting there. We greeted. There was his sister-in-law, who was 92 years old. We had a discussion with her. We asked her, Mother, when our Gurudev had gone from here, then what did you all think? She said, I had heard that he has died, that I had a brother-in-law, and some wild animal in the forest had eaten him, and his shraddhs were being carried since I have come here. And I have done 70 shraddhs of him from my hands. Whenever some mishappening in the house used to happen, loss of animal or crop, then we used to visit our Guruji Brahman. We requested him to do scripture reading. We used to say that your Haridwari has died childless. Now he is troubling you. He is doing loss to you. Arrange 5 clothes for him, carry out his shraddhs nicely, and do like this. Whatever he used to say, we used to do everything. He used to say that this time shraddhs were not done properly. I will do properly next time. He made us do 70 shraddhs and he is sitting all right. I said, Mother, in Gita Ji, this is prohibited. In chapter 9, verse 25 says, those who worship ghosts become ghosts. Those who worship Pitras become Pitras. This worship should not be done. This is a living example in front of you. They were making you a fool. Was there any truth in their saying? Leave this now. She said, no, this is done since long. This cannot be left. One is destined to hell if now also this cannot be left. This is a limit. She is seeing it herself and saying, I have carried 70 shards of him, offered pind as well. They said he has become Pitra now. He said, not Pitra. He has become a great man to provide salvation to all. Millions have been liberated and you carry his shards by listening to these fools. Pious souls, how have these pilgrims formed? What knowledge is provided by Shankracharya's? I will show you its glimpse. This book is Himalaya Tirath. J.P. Namburi is its writer. Himalaya Tirath, J.P. Namburi, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Sri Badrinath Kedarnath Temple Committee. This has been published from Kolkata. First edition. The publisher is Ranju Chakrabarti. 76A by 1, Bamacharan Rai Road, Kolkata. The printer is Giri Print Service, Kolkata. In this I will show you one story. What does our Shankracharya Ji teach us? What knowledge do they give? Here we will take one simple story. We will not waste much time. Look here. On page number 19, they have narrated one story regarding these pilgrims. How were these pilgrims formed? This is Himalaya Tirath book. First, they have another story. After the Nara and Narayan sages, this Jyotirling has remained worshipable by the sages, by other sages, Munis and devotees. God, being pleased with the worship of some Nara and Narayan named person, had established one Jyotirling that they worshipped. Afterwards, in Mahabharat's era, the murder of their fellow people by Pandavas means in Mahabharat war, the murder of their brothers and relatives, etc., for freedom from the sins incurred from the war, they worshipped God of gods Mahadev to destroy their sins. They worshipped Lord Shiva, these Pandavas. In the same context, there comes a narrative in Puranas with Ved Vyas Ji's consent. Pandavas went to the Kedar area. God acquired the form of a Mahish, an ox, and started roaming in the Kedar area. Lord Shiva acquired form of an ox and strolling in that Kedar area as an ox. Bhima identified Lord Shiva in the illusion form Mahish. It is said that Bhim identified that he is Lord Shiva in the form of an ox. Knowing this, Lord Shiva in Mahish form tried to enter the earth. When the powerful Bhim ran and held his back. Seeing Pandava's devotion and belief, Lord Shiva appeared in front of him. Because of sins incurred due to Guru's murder, for relief, the back portion that was held by Bhim after giving the order to worship Prisht, means back portion, he disappeared. Ox's back portion, I will tell you in detail. The back portion acquired form of a rock. It became a rock, that back portion. Now what is he trying to say? Is that when Sri Krishna Ji had given the order to these Pandavas that there are grave sins on you during Mahabharat, the family members whom you had killed, the gurus you murdered, and so much massacre you did, to get relief from this, you go to Himalayas and perform penance there till your last breath. The writer is trying to say is that Pandavas were doing worship there, were performing tenacity, were practicing Lord Shiva came there acquiring the form of an ox. And they say Bhim had identified him and ran. Lord Shiva understood it. Because of this reason, he started entering in the earth. Only the back portion remained to enter to the earth. Powerful Bhim held it and stopped him with force. This much was left above, and it became a rock. And it is said Lord Shiva appeared there. This is all Kal's trap. Kal appeared in the form of Shiva and told them that now you worship this back portion of the ox. Bhim started worshipping the shitty portion, and that became the pilgrimage. They say, now you worship this shitty portion that became our pilgrimage. Look, read again. Now you will understand. With Vedvyas ji's consent, Pandavas went to Kedar area. God acquired the form of Mahish, an ox, started roaming in Kedar area. Bhim identified Lord Shiva in the illusion form. He identified Shiva in ox form. Knowing this, Lord Shiva in Mahish form was entering into the earth when the powerful Bhim ran and held his back. Seeing Pandava's devotion and belief, Lord Shiva appeared in front of him. Because of sins incurred due to Guru's murder, for relief, the back portion was held by Bhim after giving the order to worship Prisht. Means back portion, he disappeared. The back portion acquired form of a rock. It became the rock, that back portion, and became worshipable by Pandavas. Pandavas started worshipping the shitty portion. Oh God, this was the knowledge of our Shankracharya. See this, all this is devil's trap. Further, in the ox form, Lord Shiva started entering inside the earth. The back portion Bhim held and stopped there. Now, next, where did the legs go? Where did the mouth emerge? See this. We are reading on page number 19 of Himalaya Tirath. We have come here. The back portion acquired the form of a rock that became worshipable by Pandavas. Pandavas started worshipping that back part, and since then, till today, that is worshipable. Till today, that is being worshipped by devotees. Mahish's front portion appeared in Nepal, which became famous with the name Pashupati Nath. Oh wow, scholars. It is said the mouth of the ox, the head appeared where? In Nepal. Mahish's front portion, means the mouth, the head, appeared in Nepal, which became famous with the name Pashupati Nath. Now a temple is built with the name Pashupati Nath. People started worshipping that. The pious souls are worshipping based on our Shankracharya's knowledge. Mahish's other four parts respectively, in Tungnath, the arms, in Rudranath, the face, in Madmaheshwar, the navel, and in Kalpeshwar, the dreadlocks. In this way, other four parts except Kedarnath of the Mahishi form Lord Shiva's got established in the Kedar area. Together with Kedarnath, this area is famous with the name Panch Kedar. Look, the front portion reached in Nepal, Mahish's front part in Nepal, and rest all remained in India. In Nepal, Pashupati Nath, who is worshipped, is made like this according to their own law. Pious souls, we must follow the worship way which is mentioned in our pious Ved, pious Gita. We do not say that this might not have happened. In the path of devotion, nothing is impossible, because this Kal God is the God of 1,000 arms, 1,000 powers. He is also very strong, is very powerful, possesses powers. He can do anything to confuse like this. We do not say that this might not have happened. This is just for our knowledge. We must only worship what our scriptures tell. Pious souls, God used to say,
पर भी लेन जात है दुनिया हमरा ज्ञान किने ना सुनिया.
pious souls, how these pilgrims were formed. Like Amarnath Shrine, how was this formed? In that area, after finding a lonely place under a dry tree, Lord Shivji provided these mantras to Goddess Parvati, first mantra, which this servant gives to you. This is called salvation mantra, up till where this can provide salvation to Goddess Parvati, where she received. That sermon, Lord Shiva gave her that mantra, that immortal mantra. So for her, for Mother Parvati, that is the immortal abode, not for you and me. Now, like these pilgrims and immortal places, like who has got these mantras in Barwala? For him, Barwala is the immortal abode. In Barwala, this servant is not there and no one else is here and the ashram is lying vacant. Like in Karontha, someone had taken initiation. For him, that Karontha is Amarnath. Now there is no one. This servant is seated here, so bowing down in that Karontha will not provide any benefit. This servant's words will be heard here, will listen to the discourse and take blessings, then benefit will happen here. Only this Amarnath abode is, although a respected monument, that such incident happened here. But for you to go there will be of no use. You need to find out a similar saint who has those salvation mantras, and if you receive those salvation mantras from this servant in Barwala street, you receive initiation there. So for you, that is Amarnath. Salvation will happen with those mantras, not with that place. Pious souls, how are pilgrims formed? There are a lot of evidence. There was a sage, he did meditation there and he attained salvation. Pious souls, like there is one mortar to crush some stuff, to crush medicines. It's an iron pestle of 1.5 feet and 2 feet high, 9 inches broad. Someone borrowed it from the neighbor and he crushed some material in that for religious practice and returned it after washing by properly cleaning. He returned to the owner. During the night, when they were asleep, they smelled the fragrance. They tried to find from where that fragrance was coming. They found it is coming from the mortar. They remembered, oh, the neighbor had taken this, had requested, he has crushed some material. Pious souls, he took out entire material. He returned after cleaning properly and still fragrance is coming. The material that he crushed in some other thing. So, the fragrance that was coming from that little bit, from that mortar, it vanished after one day. Consider these pilgrims like mortar, and the sage crushed the material in that. Means the meditation he did there, all that earning he took to that abode, the place he was doing meditation for. Those pilgrims are the mortar. For a month or two, for 1 or 2 years, fragrance might be felt because where a saint has done some meditation, relief is felt for some duration, but that material is not there. The same material will have to be crushed to receive fragrance properly every day. Means true worship you may do anywhere as that sage did. You did that in your home. For you, that pilgrim is your home and not that place where someone else has done meditation. What will that benefit us by going there? Like this servant started doing discourses in several cities. So, whoever listened to these sermons took initiation. There, on a furnace, we used to prepare kheer, dessert, halwa, vegetables, and from there we used to move to the next city. If some person brings someone here to explain that, look here, Sant Rampal ji's discourse happened, here kheer was prepared, here halwa was prepared, here they used to sit and eat. Neither is Rampal there, nor kheer and halwa. Merely the dry furnace can be shown. Halwa will be received where Rampal is there. Understand about these pilgrims and fasting like this. This is Satlog Ashram. Barwala will work like all those abodes and pilgrims for you. Come here and get your well-being done.
You just heard the views of Jagadguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj. Let us hear the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Sawroopanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. We have heard the knowledge of all four Vedas is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in short. Do you agree with this statement and why?
Is it like there is one verse? Upanishads are our Guru. God, Shri Krishna is God. Arjuna is calf and Gita is nectar milk.
Maharajji, my next question is that the knowledge giver of Gita in Gita chapter 18 verse 62 is telling to go in refuge of some other god apart from him. Who is that god?
Where? What he is saying?
Gita orator in Gita chapter 18 verse 62.
Okay, in 18. It is Ishwarasya Sarvabhutanam. I will tell the verse you. Its meaning is, gods reside in the heart of all creatures and moves them accordingly to their deeds. With all emotions, go in the refuge of that God. With the blessings, you will attain eternal peace and immortal abode. On listening, this Arjuna did not have satisfaction. To Arjun, God told, I am that. Sarvadharman parijatya mamekam sharanam vraj.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 66 there is word vraj. Its meaning to go, to depart. But all translators have written the meaning of vraj to come. Please specify this.
It is like vraj dhatva, a metal. So vraj dhatva metal comes in this. State has four meanings: gati gaman, gati gyan, gati moksha, gati prapti. So here the dynamic is the metal. Vraj is formed in the middle of singular form of its imperative mood. So vraj means avgach, that is, know me. This is the principle that until you know God, till the God cannot protect him. Therefore, you should know that God. Yes. Uttam is which is superior, and Anuttam is one to whom none is superior.
In Gita chapter 7 verse 18, the speaker of Gita, God, why is he telling his worship inferior?
He is saying because his worship is as per Vedas. Worshipping according to Vedas is superior. Nothing is superior than that.
We have heard Brahmaji Rajoguna, Vishnuji Satoguna and Shivji is Tamoguna. Do you agree with this?
There is one God only. According to three virtues, with Rajoguna they become Brahma, with Satoguna they become Vishnu, and to destroy with Tamoguna they become Shiva.
You just heard the views of Sharda Dwarka Peeth and Jyotirmat Badrinath Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swarupanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. Now let us know the views of Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami Shri Nishalanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj.
We have heard the knowledge of all four Vedas is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in short. Do you agree with this statement and why?
So, it is written in Mahabharata, Sarvopnishado Gayo Dogda Gopalo Nandana. The summary of Vedas is Upanishad. It is accumulated in that. By brainstorming Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is understood.
Maharaj ji, my next question is that the knowledge giver of Gita in Gita chapter 18 verse 62 is telling to go in refuge to some other god apart from him. Who is that god?
This is said to take refuge of the omniscient. This is said by God Shri Krishna. Tvamev saranam gaccha svarbhaven bharata. What is its meaning? The omniscient God is the regulator of all, is the inspiration who is seated in mine and your heart. It is written in the Upanishad, on the earth, in water, light, air, sky. He is who regulates, also controls everyone's body, life, senses. God has told to take refuge of that omniscient. Nam ekam sharanam raja. He is the omniscient Parbrahm God. He is the supreme. I, in front of you, am present in the form of Shri Krishna. So, it has not been told to go to someone else. For that omniscient, to Arjun, it is said that take refuge and attain him. In the end, it is said of the omniscient, the idol form of Shri Krishna, I am in front of you. It is also said, Namekam Sharanam Vraja. With that omniscient, Shri Krishna has established his union.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 66, there is a word Vraj. Its meaning is to go, to depart, but all translators have written the meaning of Vraj, to come. Please specify.
The question whosoever has framed has told from his point of view that all the translators have interpreted the meaning against the knowledge. It is not like that. The meaning of Vraj also is aware, like the questioner has told. Sages like Bhagavatpa Shankracharya, people like religious emperor Swami Karpatriji Maharaj have done its meaning like that. Like the water ripple might consider itself to be the water form. Cloud might consider itself to be the sky form. And also, like the wave of water may consider itself to be sky, in the same way you abandon your self-recognition in accordance with your body senses and you consider yourself to be Brahma form. Consider yourself to be the Brahma form. This translation has also been done by the interpreters. Bhagavatpa Shankracharya and his excellencies have made similar kind of attempts. But the Vaishnavistic, they at their level, according to their level, have translated its meaning like what the description the questioner has done.
Uttam and Anuttam, what is the difference?
Okay, so it has come in Gita ji. Anuttam means best, like no one else, excellent, exquisite in the meaning.
Shankracharya ji, in Gita chapter 7 verse 18, the speaker of Gita, God, why he is telling his worship inferior?
Uttam means great, par excellence. Anuttam means without excellence, inferior. But it is not that from the point of view of grammar I have told the meaning.
Shankracharya ji, we have heard Brahma ji Rajoguna, Vishnu ji Satoguna and Shiv ji is Tamoguna. Do you agree with this?
Rajagun, Satgun, Tamagun are roots. Are Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh roots? You have heard wrong. Who has prepared the question has incomplete knowledge. In fact, the situation is that Rajagun's regulator is Brahma ji and Tamagun's regulator is Shiv ji. And Satogun's regulator is Vishnu ji. All these three being the regulators are beyond attributes, essentially attributeless, and also formless. These three neither are Rajaguni or Tamaguni and not even Sattvic. These three are beyond attributes, are the regulators of attributes. Therefore, Satyam Dvaja Tametya Guna Prakriti Sambhava Nibadhanam Thi Mahabaho Dehe Dehe Nibadhanayam. These three are the root cause of attributes. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are the worshipable deities to provide salvation. These are neither Tamoguni or Rajguni or even Satgun. These are the regulators of attributes.
You just heard the views of respected Puri Peethadhishwar Shankracharya Swami, Shri Nishalanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of respected Shri Madhavacharya Maharaj. We have heard that the knowledge of all the four Vedas is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in short.
Yes, the summary is there. Summary of all four Vedas is told.
The knowledge giver of Gita in Gita chapter 18 verse number 62 is telling to go in refuge of which another god other than him.
Other than us in worship, where deities are worshipped. So they are other than us. So it is said to go in his refuge, he says.
Do you believe in Puranas to be true?
They are true. If Puranas were not there, then we would not have known the meaning of Vedas. Puranas are absolutely true.
What is the difference between Uttam and Anuttam? What do you think is the
Uttam,
difference?
Which is good, which is superior. Anuttam, which is less than that, that is Anuttam.
In Gita chapter 7 verse 18, why is the God who is narrating Gita is telling his worship to be inferior?
He did not say his true worship to be inferior. The practice is not as inferior. Worship is always superior.
We have heard that Brahma ji is Rajoguna, Vishnu ji is Satoguna and Shiv ji is Tamoguna. Do you agree with this?
Rajagun, Tamagun, Satgun are three gods. Rajagun does the creation. Yes, Brahma ji. And nourishment is done by Lord Vishnu ji. And destruction is done by Lord Rudra. He is Tamoguni.
You just heard the views of respected Shri Madhavacharya Maharaj. Now let us listen to the views of Sringeri Peethadhishwar Shri Bharti Tirth Ji Maharaj.
We have heard that the knowledge of all four Vedas is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in short. Do you agree with this statement?
Yes, it's okay. Gita Ji is the summary of Upanishads.
Do you believe Puranas to be true?
Yes, Puranas are true. How can we believe Puranas to be untrue? For us, Puranas are true.
Uttam and Anuttam, what is the difference?
Uttam is excellent. Uttam is always of true character only. He is of true character. Anuttam is the reverse of that, whose character is not good or inferior.
In Gita chapter 7 verse 18, the speaker of Gita, God, why he is telling his worship inferior?
No, you did not understand the meaning of Anuttam. There, the word Anuttam means from that nothing is better. Generally, the meaning of this word means different from the superior. There, the meaning of Anuttam is from which nothing is better. Therefore, the meaning of Anuttam is par excellence.
The knowledge giver of Gita in Gita chapter 18 verse 62 is telling to go in refuge of which another god?
There is no one apart from God. God said there, it is said that Matas Partaram Nanyas Kimtidas Dhananjaya. There it is said, beyond me is nothing. This is what was said. Therefore, that God is divine.
Maharaj ji, Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 66, there is a Vraj word. Its meaning is to go, to depart. But all translators have written the meaning of Vraj, to come. Please clarify.
Vraj meaning to go, depart is a usual meaning. But few verses of Sanskrit must be interpreted according to that context. Therefore, according to that context, the meaning of Vraj that interpreters have done, that is to come in the refuge, is correct.
We have heard Brahma ji is Rajoguna, Vishnu ji is Satoguna and Shiv ji is Tamoguna. Do you agree with this?
Yes, that is what is in the scriptures.
You just heard the views of pious Hindu religion's respected world-class Shankracharyas. Now let us listen to the views of Jagadguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj.
सतगुरुदेव की जय। बंदी छोड़ कबीर परमेश्वर जी की जय। बंदी छोड़ गरीबदास जी महाराज जी की जय। स्वामी राम देवानंद जी गुरु महाराज जी की जय हो। गरीब नमो नमो सतपुरुष को नमस्कार। गुरु की नहीं सुर नर मुनि जन साधुओं संतों सर्वसदी नहीं। सतगुरु साहेब संत सब दंडोतम प्रणाम। आगे पीछे मज हुए तिनको जा कुर्बान।
Gita Ji chapter 8 verse number 1. Arjun asked that in chapter 7 verse 29 it was told that knowing Tat Brahm and becoming familiar with entire spirituality and all deeds a person makes efforts to get relieved from birth and death. Jara means old age and Maran means death. So in chapter 8 verse 1 it is asked, who is that Tat Brahm? Look at this. This is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 7, verse number 29. Here only Sanskrit is there. Further is its explanation. Jara Maran Mokshai. Jara means old age, Maran means death, Moksh means to get salvation. Mam ashritya yetanti ye. Te Brahm tat vidhu Krishnam adhyatam karam chakhilam. Its meaning is Mam ashrita, as I have told you, whoever will be dependent on this knowledge, searches true enlightened saint, they only make efforts to get rid of illness of old age and death for salvation. Yatanti, they know Tat Brahm, they know the entire spiritual knowledge and are familiar with all deeds. Those who only make efforts to get rid of old age and death, they are familiar with that Tat Brahm, entire spiritual knowledge, and from all deeds. Look, chapter 7 verse 29 we are reading Gita Ji. Who remains dependent on me means who is in my refuge. Jara means old age, Maran means death. They make efforts to get rid of these, attain that God and complete spirituality. See this, Tat Brahm. They know that God, entire spirituality and all the deeds. Chapter 8 begins here. It's the first verse of chapter 8. In this it is asked, who is Tat Brahm? Regarding the Tat Brahm it is said, Tat Brahm, that Brahm, which knows the entire spirituality and all deeds. Here they have asked in chapter 8, first verse, Kim Tat Brahm? Kim Adhyatam? Kim Karam Purushottam? Kim Atibhut cha Kim Proktam? Adidevam Kim Uchyate? Its answer is in chapter 8, third verse. Who is that God? This question is asked by Arjun. Its answer is given in chapter 8, verse 3. This is chapter 8, verse 3. That is Paramakshar Brahm. In verse 3, this is answered by souls. Now we come to Gita Ji, chapter number 15, verse number 16 and 17. With this, the entire concept that this slave wanted to clear will be clear. Look at this. Chapter 15, Gita chapter number 15. And here, this is verse 16. In this, two gods are told. Dvavim, Dvau Imau Purshau. Two Purush, two gods, two masters. One is Kshar and one is Akshar. Call him Kshar Purush, or we call these Purush as Kshar Purush and Akshar Purush. Here we will see their translation in this world. Mortal and immortal are two types of Purush, means gods. Purush means master, God they are called. And all creatures' body is immortal and the souls is said to be immortal. Its meaning is that one Kshar Purush is this Brahm, Akshar Purush is this Parabrahm. This Kshar Purush Brahm is the owner of 21 universes and Akshar Purush of 700 quadrillion universes. Both these and all creatures under them are all mortals, but the soul of all does not die. That subject is different. Now, this is made clear that both are mortal, Kshar Purush as well as Akshar Purush, no matter if Akshar means immortal. but he has a defined long life, due to which he is called Akshar Purush, but in reality he is not immortal. Its concept is made clear in chapter 15 verse 17 that Uttam Purush tu anna Paramatma yati udharte. Look, chapter 15, we have read now 16th, now we will read 17th. Uttam Purusha tva anna Paramatma iti udharte. Ye lok trayam avishya vibharti avishwara. Superior God means supreme God is someone else apart from these two. Two gods are told in 16th and he is another. And who enters all three regions and nurtures everyone, the immortal supreme being, Almighty God, he is told like this. This is upside down hanging, world like tree. This has roots above, below are the three qualities like branches. With roots only, the whole tree gets nourishment. By entering all three regions, this original form divine Paramakshar Brahm does their nourishment, nurtures the whole world. This is world like tree, its origin is Paramakshar Brahm. Look, this is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 15, verse number 17th. We are reading Uttam Purush tu anna Paramatma iti udharte. Uttam Purush means Supreme God, the Almighty, is someone else apart from these two above, different from both. In 16th, it is explained separately. Yalok Triyam Avishya Vibharti, who nurtures everyone by entering all three regions, he is in reality the eternal God. He is the immortal God. See this, Uttam Purush means Purushottam, true God, is some other who by entering into all three regions nurtures everyone. He is the immortal God in reality. Pious souls, what this servant wants to conclude is revealed. Gita ji has made it clear that the knowledge giver of Gita is Brahm. His mantra is Om. His seeker attains Brahmalok. Creature attaining Brahmalok are in recurrence, that is not complete salvation. Gita, orator in chapter number 18 verse 62 and Gita chapter number 15 verse 1 to 4 and in chapter 18 verse 62 and 66. In these verses, he is clarifying that God should be worshipped, that Paramakshar Brahm, about whom in chapter 8 verse 3 it is said that he should be worshipped. With his worship, the creature never comes back in this world. God's ultimate abode is attained. Gita ji, chapter number 18 verse 62, it is said that by all means you go in the refuge of that God. With his grace only you will attain eternal peace and ultimate abode. Means again birth and death will never happen. About himself he has made clear that your and my birth and death will remain forever. Pious souls, until these scriptures are familiar, till then we do not believe because our tongue was burnt with hot milk. Therefore we even drink buttermilk carefully. This servant wants that I shall make you so strong that after seeing these scriptures you become sure and you will discard those fake gurus, acharyas and Shankracharyas and will get your well-being done. Look, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8, verse number 3, this is clear that he is Paramakshar Brahm. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 15, verse number 1 to 4 and 16, 17, this is made clear. Akshar Purush is its trunk, Shar Purush is its branch. These three qualities, Rajgun Brahma, Satgun Vishnu, Tamgun Shivji, are the branches of the world-like tree. And this is also clear that one who nurtures everyone is the immortal God, Paramakshar Brahma, is Paramakshar Brahma. In Gita, chapter number 8, verse number 5 and 7, knowledge giver of Gita says regarding his worship that to worship me, the mantra is Om, nothing else, which has been told in chapter 8, verse 13. If my worship is to be done, then Om is the mantra. You will attain me, but you need to fight. If you want to attain Paramakshar Brahm, if you want to worship him, then his mantra is told in chapter 17, verse 23. Om Tat Sat iti nirdeshe brahmane trivide smritah. Brahmane means to attain that Paramakshar Brahm. For his worship, only chant these three mantras, Om Tat Sat. Worshipping him by three mantras is the instruction, direction. Direction means final command, nothing else. In chapter 8, verse 8, 9, 10, it is said that with his worship, you will attain Paramakshar Brahm. With his worship, the creature goes there, going where the creature never comes back. And these are Acharya, Shankracharya, these creatures who are devoid of true spiritual knowledge. These Mandaleshwars are religious leaders. They say that Sri Krishna Ji is telling about his own self. In this, the concept is made clear that there are two gods. In fact, three are told, but two have an important role because we are living in Kshar Purusha's region and we have to go to Paramakshar Brahm's region. But in between, there is one interference. This Akshar Purush, we have to cross his 700 quadrillion universes. For that, Om is the direct mantra of Brahma, Tat is indicative of Akshar Purush, and Sat is also indicative mantra of Paramakshar Purush, Paramakshar Brahma. Practicing these three mantras after attaining complete salvation, we will go to that region, going where the seeker never comes back. This is the outcome of this complete Gita in front of you. Let me show you some reference. Look, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8. We have read till here that he is Paramakshar Brahm in verse number 3. He is Paramakshar Brahm, who is other than the Gita narrator. Here the knowledge giver of Gita says in chapter 8, verse 5 that the man who remembers me till his last breath and leaves the body, he attains to my form, not the personal. Mad bhavam yati, he receives all benefits from me. There is no doubt in this. Now, what is said in 7th verse, chapter 8 of Gita Ji? In 7th, what is said, therefore, Arjun, you remember me all the time and also fight. You have to fight if you want to remain in my refuge. Attained in me, dedicated with complete mind, undoubtedly you will attain me. Now in 8th, 9th, this is made clear. Gita chapter number 8, verse number 8, we are reading, Oath. This is the rule, by worshipping to attain God, one who chants those three mantras and does not deviate and continues worshipping. That man, Param Divyam Purush Hyati, is attained to that Paramakshar Brahm. Param Prakash Roop Divyam, to divine, means is attained to God only, who is other than knowledge giver of Gita. In 9th, this concept is also clear. Kaviyam, here we will not disturb this. We will read as is, the God, who is everlasting, omnipresent, omnipotent, means Lord of Lords, subtlest of the subtle, sustainer of all, in unimaginable form. Highly radiant form like sun means illuminating body like the sun is in form. This is clear in this. Is far from ignorance, worship that Sachidanand Ghan Brahma, worship that Paramakshar Brahma. Now, 9th verse, you have read of chapter 8, now we will read 10th. That devotee means who chants those three mantras in which one is Om and two words Tat Sat are indicative. That devotee in the end, with the power of devotion, Yog means worship with the devotional strength, focusing in the middle of the eyebrow by establishing a connection with pure mind, remembers that divine and is attained to that divine form. Supreme God means he is other than the knowledge giver of Gita, that Paramakshar Brahm. His worshipper attains him, pious souls. Before reaching Trikuti, we will give the devotional earnings from other mantras here to them. Further, when we will reach to Trikuti, with us this two-word mantra we have, that is Satnam. In this one is Om mantra, this devotional earning of Om mantra is of Brahma. And this earning we will give to this Kal, to Brahma. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, verse number 62. The knowledge giver of Gita says, Arjun, by all means you go in the refuge of that God. With his grace only you will attain eternal peace and ultimate abode. For that he has left an option and told that I do not know him. Search for an enlightened saint. In chapter 18, verse 63, it is said that I have given the most confidential knowledge to you. I have told you the most confidential knowledge, that if you are to remain in my refuge, then you have to fight. In chapter 8, verse 5 and 7, if you will remember me, you will be received by me. In Gita Ji chapter 8, verse 8, 9, 10, if you will worship that Paramakshar Brahm, then you will. In Gita Ji chapter number 17, verse 23, the mantras to worship that Paramakshar Brahm is told. His mantra is Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdeshah Brahmaneh Trividhah Smritah. You can worship him by chanting 3 mantras, which an enlightened saint will tell, I do not know. Knowledge giver of Gita told his own mantra, chapter 8, verse 13. Om Iti Ekaksharam. Brahma Vyaharan Mam Anusamran. Ye Prayati Tajan Deham. Sayati Parmam Gatim. Om is my Brahma mantra. One who chants till his last breath and leaves the body obtains benefits of Om level. What is of Om level? Brahmalok. Souls attaining Brahmalok are in recurrence. They have birth and death. So here chanting Om independently has another benefit. If this is chanted adding both, it has another benefit. If verbally this will be chanted, it will have other benefit. Through breath, if that is chanted, it has other benefit. So when we will reach to Trikuti, we will give the devotional earnings of Om mantra to him. Earlier, what we continue doing by chanting Om mantra, we used to go to Brahmalok and lived there for 1,000 eras, used to waste our devotional earnings and then became a donkey and wandered here. Because of those sins, we remained suffering. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, verse number 62 to 66, a decisive knowledge has emerged. It is complete summary of pious Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The knowledge giver of Gita says, if you have to remain in my refuge, then bow to me. In chapter 18, verse 65, keep your mind in me and worship me. You will attain me. In chapter 18, verse 66, it is said that Arjun, by all means, sarve dharman parityaj mam ekam sharanam vajra. I will show you. Pious souls, here what this servant is trying to clear is how salvation will be attained. This is compulsory. How will we be liberated, and which all great souls chanted this mantra. To respected Dharamdas Ji, God himself gave this mantra of 2 words and kept the final mantra secret. That I am giving to you, but this has not to be disclosed. He gave it to these great men, but they further did not disclose to anyone. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, verse number 66. There is one Vraj word. Our religious leaders, sages, acharyas, Shankracharyas, saints have made its meaning wrong. They have twisted. Vraj means go. Go means to depart. This is English word. If its meaning is done as come, then is it sensible? Use whatever grammar to justify that. They did not understand the sentence. Look what is the meaning of that. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, published from Gita Press, Gorakhpur, Jai Dayal Goenka is its translator. I will show you chapter 18, verse 66. This is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, verse number 66. What is written in this? Sarve dharman parityajamam ekam saranam vajra. Ahem tva sarve pape bhyamokshami mashuch. What have they translated? Of the complete philosophy, that is complete obligation, sacrifice all deeds to me, abandon philosophy to me, you only in me, ma meaning what have they written? In me, all powerful, omnipotent, divine's refuge. Sharanam means in refuge, Vrij means come. Whereas Vrij means go. I will receive you of all sins, do not get upset. Pious souls, first Vraj meaning is to come or to go. This concept needs to be clear. First, let us complete the context that this Om mantra earning we will give to Kal. At Trikuti there, you will have your account. God Kabir Ji will be available there in the servant's form. You will go running towards your Guruji. God will take you to Dharamraj's court to clear your account. This Om mantra will be given, rest will be left. So, the second mantra, which is part of Satnam along with Om, is mantra of Parabrahma of Akshar Purush. After Kal's 21 universes, we have to cross 700 quadrillion universes. Look, this is the picture of one universe. This is a miniature picture of one universe. This is an elliptical shape. This is the picture of one universe. What is there inside this? These below 7, these Atal, Vital, etc. Here, this is the earth. This is the region of Shiva. This is the region of Brahmaji. This is the region of Vishnuji. And after this, it is the region of Dharmaraj. This is common heaven, which is called Indralok. And this is that Brahmalok. This is that Brahmalok. Here, this Kal resides secretly. He has made 3 regions separately, secretly. Here he keeps his wife Durga in 3 places separately and has 3 sons. Now the point which we have to take, we will see here. This is one universe. Like this Kal has 21 universes. Look, these are Jyoti Niranjan's 21 universes, the whole picture. See this. In this, what has he done? This ball, consider this one universe. This is a universe. Like this one group he has made of 5 universes. This is called a great universe. Great universe. Like this, in 4 great universes, he has locked 20 universes. They keep revolving separately. They themselves also keep rotating. Regions inside them also keep rotating. This one region is separate, secret. Here, a duplicate Satlok, duplicate Alakhlok, duplicate Agamlok, duplicate Akahlok, Anamilok he has created. In the same way, in every universe, that was his 21st universes. In this one universe, see this in Brahmalok, Great Indra's island, Great Indra's island. Then duplicate Satlok, duplicate Alakhlok, duplicate Agamlok, duplicate Anamilok he has created. He deceives creatures through Durga, Maya, Shakti. Now, these are 21 universes of Kal, and this is the way, the path to exit. Look, this is one universe. Till now, 10 doors were told. That 10th door, this is the 10th door of one universe. Now from here, when the soul will exit, then think that it crossed the 10th door out from this. After that, he will come here. The 10th door exit will be here. This is a vacuum place. After crossing from 10th door, he keeps wasting his time here. In this hollow area, these all around, it's vacuum here. Now we will attain salvation after crossing 12th door, like this. This is one complete picture of infinite universe. Look, think these 21 universes are of Kal. These are 21 universes of Kal, alright. These ball-like, and these are 700 quadrillion universes of Parabrahm, means of Akshar Purush, all these. These are 700 quadrillion universes. And this overall controller of infinite universes is Kabir God. These are infinite universe, and along with this, these 21 universes are of him, above which are 700 quadrillion universe. Lord of the lineage is this Kabir Sahib. This supreme God is seated on top in the 3rd ultimate abode. Look here, like in one universe, see this is the picture of 21 universes here. Now the 10th door remains in one universe itself. Soul does not go out from this. It remains in one universe only. With God's mantra, we will come out. These are 21 universes. From here, this is the 11th door. 10th is within one universe. Leaving from here, this creature, this is the 11th door. We will see this. Come here. And exiting from the 11th door, we will enter here into 700 quadrillion universes which are of Parabrahm. This is the 12th door that will open into Satlok, means after crossing Parabrahm's 700 quadrillion universes, then crossing the 12th door, we will reach Satlok. Till now, they were talking about 10th door only. There is one Kabir Panthi in Jammu. His acting is amazing. He says the 11th window is found. 11th window. Till date, no one has told about 11th door. I have found the 11th door. Well, if you have found 11th door, then you found it from Kabir Sagar. You did not create this knowledge, and 12th door is written by Kabir God that Dwadash Dar Base Murabalam Tahawa Dhyan Lagave. Respected Garibdas Sahib ji has said, Asankhya Janam Tane Marte Hoge Jeevit Kyun na Marare Aur Dwadash Madh Mahal Mat Bore Bahor na Dih Dhareri. God, after crossing the 12th door, going where body is not formed again, birth and death do not happen again, we will go there from Satnam. With this true name, by chanting 2-word mantra, again we come to the same topic. Om name earnings we will give to this Kal. He has said, Sarve Dharman Paritajyamam. Meaning of Gita chapter 18 verse 66 is that Om is mantra of my level. And these sacrifices which you do, fire sacrifices, etc., earnings of all these religious rituals, give it to me. Then you go in refuge of that omnipotent, the one, the incomparable, and they say, come in my refuge. In chapter 2, verse 7, Arjun says, I am in your refuge. In his refuge, he was already there. And my mind now no longer works. Tell me all that which is in my interest. I am in your refuge. And then they say, come in my refuge. Vraj means go. I will show you. In a dictionary, see this. I will show you the dictionary. This is the Sanskrit Hindi dictionary. Vaman Shivram Apte is its compiler. This is Motilal Banarsi Das Publishers Private Limited. This has been published from Delhi. I will take you on 993 page. Here what is written? Vraj. Word. Vraj means go, walk, leave, to depart, go, walk. It is clear. Vraj means go. This cannot be come. Now in Gita Press Gorakhpur you have seen Vraj means come. Come in my refuge. I will show you Srimad Bhagavad Gita, published by Asha Ramji Maharaj, Saint Shri Asaram Ashram, Ahmedabad. Look at this. Saint Shri Asaramji Ashram. They have no knowledge beyond Om. Shri Yog Vedant Service Committee, Saint Shri Asaramji Ashram, Saint Shri Asaramji Bapu Ashram Marg, Ahmedabad. Ashram Road, Jahangirpur. These are their fax number. Look here. This is chapter 18, verse 66. Sarvadharman Paritajyaman Ekam Saranam Vajra. Entire religious practices, meaning all obligations, deeds you abandon to me, you come in refuge to me, the omnipotent God. Alright. Now number 2. I will show you the translation by Satpal Hansadesh. From where has this been published? Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Bande Vishnu Shri Krishna Bande Jagat Guru. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Translation is Brahmaleen Mahatma Satyanand, Mahatma Sarvagyanand, etc. Publisher Hansadesh. Publisher is Manav Uthan Seva Samiti, 2/11, Punjabi Bagh, New Delhi, and the printer is Rajeshwari Photo Setters Private Limited, New Delhi. See this? He is Satpal Ji Maharaj. Shri Satpal Ji Maharaj. Look at this. This is acceptable to him. This translation, this is Athashto Adhyay. Here they have done 61, 62, 63 here, from 64 till 66. Sarvadharman Paritajyamam Ekam Saranam Vajra. Its translation they have done here. Abandoning all religious deeds, you come in my refuge. This is number 2. Now I will show you 3rd. Sudhanshu Ji Maharaj. He is Sudhanshu Ji Maharaj. From where has this been published? Publisher is Vishwa Jagrati Publisher,
Omkareshwar Mahadev Temple, G Block, Mansarovar Garden, New Delhi. The printer is Inter India Publications, D17, Raja Garden, New Delhi. Now, I will show you its 18th chapter. This is the 18th chapter, Moksha Sannyas Yog, chapter 18, verse 66. Sarva dharman paritajya mam ekam saranam vajra. Abandoning all religious deeds, you only come in my refuge. Alright. Number 3. Now I will show you 4th. Look at this. See, this is huge. You will be surprised seeing its translation. Sadhak Sanjeevani is its name. Srimad Bhagavad Gita note. Sri Ram Sukhdas ji has done translation. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Swami Ram Sukhdas ji. Publisher and printer is Gita Press, Gorakhpur, Govind Bhavan Office, Institute of Kolkata. These are his facts and phone numbers. He has done an amazing thing. Look at this. Chapter 18, verse 66. This is the 66th verse. Sarva dharman paritajya mam ekam saranam vajra aham tva sarva papebhyam mamokshami masuch. What translation have they done? See, abandoning all religious deeds, you only come in my refuge. Alright? To make this ignorance even more wrong, how many pages has he wasted? See now, this chapter 18, verse 66 starts from page 1200. Come, let me show you from 1200 till 1217 page. And this is very small size printing of chapter 18, verse 66. They have filled 17 pages by writing nuisance, and even ABC is not there in this, and so small is the writing like it is of newspaper, and they have made 17 pages of it. It was just a matter of 2 words that Vraj means go. These ignorance, they had no knowledge and spoke all nuisance in this and made this wrong. Look now, I will show you. Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan. About him it is told that there is no great man like him. Bhagavad Gita's explanation and simple meaning of every verse, a great thinker and modern India's best philosopher Dr. Radhakrishnan has presented in such a way. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This has been published from Hindi pocket books. He is the printer. Security Press Private Limited. Look, what has he done? Chapter 18, verse 66. Sarva dharman paritajya mam ekam saranam vajra. Abandoning all duties, you only come in my refuge. Alright.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, there is a word vraj. Its meaning is to go, to depart. But all translators have written the meaning of vraj to come. Please clarify.
It is like Vrajdhatva, a metal. So, Vrajdhatva metal comes in this. It indicates Gati. State has 4 meanings. Gati Gaman, Gati Gyan, Gati Moksha, Gati Prapti. So here is the dynamic, is the metal. Vraj is formed in the middle, in singular form of its imperative mood. So Vraj means avgaj. That is, know me. This is the principle that until you know God, till then God cannot protect him. Therefore, you should know that God. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, there is a Vraj word. Its meaning is to go, to depart. But all translators have written the meaning of Vraj, to come. Please clarify.
The question whosoever has framed has told from his point of view that all the translators have interpreted the meaning against the knowledge. It is not like that. The meaning of Vraj also is aware, like the questioner has told. Sages like Bhagavad Shankracharya, people like religious emperor Swami Karpatriji Maharaj have done its meaning like that. Like the water ripple might consider itself to be the water form. Cloud might consider itself to be the sky form. And also, like the wave of water may consider itself to be sky, in the same way you abandon your self-recognition in accordance with your body senses and you consider yourself to be Brahma form. Consider yourself to be the Brahma form. This translation has also been done by the interpreters. Bhagavatpa Shankracharya and his excellencies have made similar kind of attempts. But the Vaishnavistic, they at their level, according to their level, have translated its meaning like what the description the questioner has done.
The knowledge giver of Gita in Gita chapter 18 verse number 62 is telling to go in refuge of which another god rather than him?
Other than us in worship, where deities are worshipped. So they are other than us. So it is said to go in his refuge, he says.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 66, there is a Vraj word. Its meaning is to go, to depart. But all translators have written the word of Vraj to come. Please clarify.
Vraj meaning to go, depart is a usual meaning. But few verses of Sanskrit must be interpreted according to that context. Therefore, according to that context, the meaning of Vraj that interpreters have done, that is to come in the refuge, is correct.
Now I will show you one more how boldly they are lying. Look at this. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, original form. This is from ISKCON. Krishna Kripa Murti, Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada Sansthapak Acharya International Krishna Bhavnamrit Sangh. Gitopanishad, original form, complete and monolithic version by Krishna Kripa Sri Murthy, Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada Sansthapak Acharya International Krishna Bhavnamrit Sangh. This is Bhakti Vedant Book Trust, Los Angeles, London, Stockholm, Sydney, Hong Kong, Mumbai. This gets published from here. Look, what absolute wonder have they done? This is chapter 18th, 66th verse. Below comes 66th here. Sarva dharman paritaj mam ekam saranam vajr ahem tva sarva papebhyam mamukshami masuch. Here they have translated, see the wonder, theirs is a unique explanation. First, they have written the meaning. Sarva dharman means all types of religions. Paritaj means by sacrificing. Mam means my. Ekam means only. Saranam means in refuge. And Vajr means go. Here the meaning is written absolutely correct. Vrij means to go. And see below what translation they have done. Abandon all types of religions and come in my refuge. Wow. Foreigners, they are our great men. They do not know ABC and were called great sages, teachers and Shankracharyas. I will show you more how this doubt has been resolved by great Kalyugi sage. Seeing this, your heart will burst. How wise was this great sage Dayanand? I will show you. This is one book. Great sage Dayanand Saraswati Ji's biography. The writer is Amar Shahid Pandit, compiled by Lekhram. Translation from Urdu to Aryan language. Translator is R. Mahopdeshak Shri Kaviraj Raghunandan Singh Nirmal. Editor is Shri Pandit Hari Chandra Vidyalankar. Publisher is Arya Samaj Naya Bans, Delhi 6, in celebration of the Golden Jubilee. Now on the 208th page I will take you. This is page 208. And which episode is this? Biography Great Sage Swami Dayanand Saraswati. These are the incidents of Mirzapur. Here it is written. Ram Gopal Vaishye, who was Veda's philosopher, he saw several interpretations of Gita, means translations, but his doubt was not clear regarding one verse. In the end, he took me along with him. The writer says, to Swamiji means to great sage Dayanandji. He went and told to Swamiji that I need to ask something from you. When he gave permission, then he asked this verse, Sarvadharman paritajya mam ekam saranam varaj. Swamiji said, this is Ram Gopal Vaishya, some Lalaji, a Veda philosopher. He was wise. To him this clicked that Vraj means go, and everyone has done come. Great sage Dayanand was famous. He went there and asked, Guruji, tell its meaning, tell the solution. Vraj means go. Why this has been translated as come by everyone? Great sage Dayanand provided its solution. See, Swamiji said, Sarvadharman paritajya mam ekam saranam vraj. About Vraj, the solution he is providing, Swami Dayanand, Swamiji said that, Sakandavadishu param roopam vacham. Beyond this dialogue, the size that remained, it became identical, means that word remained religious, but in reality that is evil. The meaning would be immortality. With that, he got delighted. Look, now the writer is praising him. He says that he has provided the solution. Who? Swami Dayanand, of Vraj meaning go instead of come. What does he say? Beyond this dialogue of the size of evil, injustice happened, unrighteousness, immortality remained, and it is said he got delighted. His solution was provided. Damn, did he provide the solution? See this, Swamiji said that Sakandvadisu Paramaroopavacham. He did not talk about what was asked, instead started with sick leave application. In this way, beyond this dialogue, in front of the size and at its back, lawlessness, and then writer says he got delighted with that. He got highly pleased. Who? This Ram Gopal Vaishya. He got the solution. All right, brother. They were called great sages. The devotee would have thought it to be correct, and this may be beyond our understanding, but this Vraj means go. This is clear. Go means to depart. How does that become come? Akar, makar, khakar. What was all this? This was the solution of the great sage.
Niranjan dhan ter बार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार जहाँ पर तनिक ना न्याय विचार पाखंडी की पूजा जग में संत को कहें लबार पाखंडी की पूजा जग में संत को कहें लबार अज्ञानी को परम विवेकी ज्ञानी को मूढ़ गंवार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार जहाँ पर तनिक न न्याय विचार कह कबीर सुनो भाई साधो या सब उल्टा व्यवहार कह कबीर सुनो भाई साधो या सब उल्टा व्यवहार सच्चों को तो ये झूठा बतावे इन झूठों का एतबार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार जहाँ पर तनिक न न्याय विचार.
God used to say, look, everyone has believed these liars and call me a liar who is true. In jhooton ka etbar niranjan dhan tera tarbar. Pious souls, today's episode has been important for you. Pious souls, imagine sufferings. A child studies in class, at home, on tuition, in school. Also he does work, then he becomes capable. Here today more time has been taken by this servant. because this time does not come again and again. One, this concept is clear in front of you that with 3 mantras the creature will attain salvation, and the first mantras, the first aid will clear you till here, and further at Trikuti we will give the earnings of Om mantra to this Brahm. He says, Sarv dharman paritaj mam. Of my level, whatever are your devotional earnings from Om mantra, sacrifices, etc., leave it to me. Then Ekam Saranam Vraj, because we kept enjoying results in heaven and great heaven of Om mantra and sacrifices, now we will not utilize our earnings, we will hand over to him and get our account cleared. Then he says, I will relieve you from all sins. Based on sins we became donkey gods and we kept wasting good deeds in this heaven, his hotels. With God's knowledge we will give him his debt and release ourselves. Then the second mantra is Tat mantra, and that is the rent to cross these 700 quadrillion universes of this Parabrahm, means Akshar Purusha's region, his account we will do there. At the 11th door, by giving him taking clearance ticket, and then the third mantra, which is Sarnam, that will take us to Sachaghand Satlok. Pious souls, these Acharya and Shankracharya and our religious leaders say Sri Krishna Ji is telling about himself, there is no other God, no, there is no one else. It has been 5500 years to this Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Puranas and Vedas that they were written. They do not know ABC about them. Acharya means a teacher, and a teacher is an instructor who is well aware of the syllabus, who is the master. And one who does not know ABC, how can he be a teacher, Acharya? They have drowned the whole country, Hindu society, by making them ghosts. Then they get their worship done. By carrying shrads, these people get their living. Pious souls, this concept is clear that in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, verse 62, 66, the knowledge giver of Gita is Brahm, this is Akshar Purush. He tells to go in the refuge of someone else, that Paramakshar Brahm. Who is that Paramakshar Brahm? This servant will tell. He is Kabir Sahib. He lived in the form of a weaver in Kashi. He had come there. We had closed his history by calling him a poet. He is Paramakshar Brahm. He had given that knowledge 600 years ago, which exists in our holy scriptures today. These our Acharyas, Shankracharya say about Sri Shivji, Sri Vishnuji, that they are unborn, immortal. They do not have mother, father. In Puranas, in their history, it is written that they have mother and father. They take birth and die, and they call them God. In Shiv Puran, it is written, you, Brahma and Vishnu are not gods. You have considered yourself God. Pious souls, the episode which was going on was that our religious leaders, Shankracharyas, Acharyas, from Satyug till today, these Brahmans, means great sages and rishis, do not have spiritual knowledge. They tell that Vishnuji, Shankarji, Brahmaji are gods. They tell them lords. These are not gods. This is evident in Puranas. I will clear the concept. This is Pious Shiv Mahapuran. Pious souls, once Sri Brahmaji and Sri Vishnuji fought. On what reason did the fight take place? Brahmaji says to Vishnuji that I am your father, I am your creator. Vishnuji says that I am your father, I am your creator. On this, they both fought. To finish their fight, their father, this Brahm, Kshar Purush, stood a pillar in between them, a ling, huge pillar, radiant. They stopped fighting and started finding its end. Then Kal appeared there in Shivji's form. This is how he deceives. He has taken a vow that I will never appear in my original Kal form in front of anyone. What is his Kal form? Gita Ji chapter number 11 verse 47-48, he says, Arjun, see, this is my Kal form, huge form, and it cannot be attained neither with the methods mentioned in Vedas, nor by jap, tap, nor by sacrifices. By no means. It can be attained. I have done this favor on you. No one has seen this before you, and further no one will be able to see this. In Gita Ji chapter 7 verse 24-25, he says that these foolish people avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyante. To me, the unmanifested, I remain hidden with my yoga powers. Having incarnated in human form, these foolish people might be considering me Krishna. I am not Krishna. He remains hidden like this. How does he deceive? By sometimes acquiring Vishnu form, he appears to someone, to the sage or the seeker. Then the seeker glorifies Vishnu Ji that you are omnipotent. During meditation, I had your vision. You have kept yourself hidden. Like this, if any seeker is worshipping Brahma Ji, then he appears to him in Brahma form. He says Brahma Ji is almighty. He has kept himself hidden, and he appears to some in God Shankar's form. Then they say God Shankar is supreme. In this way, this confusion has been created by this Kal God, and based on this, Sri Brahma Ji, Sri Vishnu Ji had a confusion that I am the sustainer. Brahma Ji says that I am the creator. Vishnu Ji believes you have originated from my navel. Brahma Ji says that I am the creator of the entire universe. I am father of all. When both of them fought, then he came and stood near them. And what does he say to them? You have considered yourself Ish, God, out of ignorance. You are not God. I will show you. Look, Shri Shiv Mahapuran with Hindi translation, part 1. This is Shiv Mahapuran. Who is the writer? Vidya Vridhi Pandit Jwala Prasad Ji Mishra with Hindi translation. Khemraj Sri Krishnadas Prakashan, Mumbai. This is Shiv Mahapuran. We will go to Vidveshwar Samhita. This is Vidveshwar Samhita, page number 11. First, we will come to 11th page. Look at this. This is the 11th page. Vidveshwar Samhita, Shiv Puran, chapter 6. Here, Nandi Keshwar said means that Nandi, ox of Lord Shiva, is telling. Nandi Keshwar said, O Yogendra, once Lord Vishnu was sleeping on his snake bed, was joined by Garud and other counselors along with Lakshmi at that time. The superior amongst the sages, Brahma Ji, came there on his wish. He asked lotus-eyed Vishnu Ji, who was sleeping on the beautiful bed, Who are you? Like an arrogant person you are sleeping, seeing me. Son, get up, see, I, your Lord, has come. Seeing Lord Guru's arrival, those who are in pride, atonement is appropriate of that foolish. Hearing this, Vishnu Ji became angry from inside but did not reveal, but remained quiet from outside and said, O son Brahma. Vishnu Ji said to Brahma Ji, O Vats, may you be blessed. Sit on this seat. Why are your eyes crooked and face curved at this time? Brahma Ji said, O son Vishnu, due to the effect of the time you have pride, O son, I am your savior and father of the entire universe. Vishnu Ji said, the entire universe resides in me. Like a thief, why do you say that to be yours? You are born from my navel, therefore you are my son. Both fought. We will not read much. We come further. They started fighting with each other. The deities started showering the flowers. Wow. You chop and die. These are the qualities of our deities. Look, we are reading on page 11 only. You have come below, see here. Vidveshwar Samhita, I am superior, I am the Lord. Saying this, and with the intention to kill, they started fighting. All the deities came in aircrafts to witness that great battle and started showering flowers on them from the sky. Wow, deities. These are our deities. If two brothers get into a fight, then a gentleman intervenes and separates both so that they may not die fighting. And these deities are showering flowers that you die fighting. Be finished. These histories we used to read. Now this Kal, their father arrived in between both of them, and he stood a pillar, a highly radiant pillar. They started finding its end. They did not find anything. Then Brahmaji lied. This story you had been listening to. Now he appeared in between them. What advice does he give to them? That you are not God. You have considered yourself to be God. Look at this. We have come on the 17th page of Shiv Puran with Veshwar Samhita, part 1, chapter 9. Here, Nandikeshwar again said, in this way, when both of them relaxed, then God to those Brahma and Vishnu, what did he say by doing a favor? To remove their ignorance and enmity, he told to both of them that I have distinct two forms, but there is no other God. Therefore, he cannot have two forms, first the pillar form and later the embodiment form he has acquired. The Brahma form is unproductive and divine form has qualities. Both these forms of mine are proven and of no one else. What did he say to them? Due to this reason, God cannot be attained to both of you and to others. You Brahma and Vishnu, out of ignorance, you have considered yourself God, believed you are God. This is quite amazing. This is wrong that happened. To remove that, I have come in the battlefield. Now you repel your arrogance and concentrate on me, who is God. With my grace, all regions illuminate. He says that being the enhancer of the world, I am Brahm. Further, I will show you. On page number 18, look first. We will see this in chapter number 10. And here we will come, O sons, to Brahma and Vishnu. He is saying, their father, this Brahma, this Kal form Brahma, Kshar Purush. O sons, this post you have obtained out of worship, which is called creation of universe and preservation. To Vishnu and Brahma ji, their father, this Kal is saying that this power that you have obtained from worship, penance, which is called creation and preservation of universe, which I have provided to you after I was pleased. In the same way, I have provided two other powers to Rudra and Mahesh, but none is capable to achieve the superior power. Here the servant wants to explain that two are these Brahma and Vishnu, and Rudra and Shiv, these two are separate. These are four and fifth is speaking. The fifth one who is speaking is their father. This is Kshar Purush, and there he stood in Shiv form near them. He works like this, by deceiving. He does not make anyone familiar with his original form. Brahma and Vishnu considered him Lord Shiva. See further, what does he say? This Kal, who is addressing all four of them, he says that Omkar is my mantra. Look at this. We have come to the 19th page. We have read 18th, which Veshwar Samhita, chapter 10 is going on. See here. With this reason, based on the accomplishments of that knowledge, chant Omkar mantra. This removes arrogance. Therefore, this original mantra is preached. This Omkar being produced from my mouth is my symptomatic form itself. This provides great benefits. He is the announcer, I am the voice. This mantra is my soul. With its chant, I am remembered. From the north mouth, Akar. From the west mouth, Ukar. From south mouth, Makar. From east mouth, Dot. From middle mouth, Nad is created. In this way, this is produced in 5 forms. All these become one word, Om, after joined. The point is that this Om, one word mantra of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh's father, this is clear. Now we again come to Devi Puran. With this, what is proved? Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and this Mahesh are not God. Their father himself is saying that you are not God. Our Acharya Shankracharya and these Hindu religious leaders are fooling us till today by telling them as gods. They do not know ABC of Vedas and Gita and Puranas. Pious souls, these fake leaders took unlawful advantage of our innocence. They have ruined us. The entire human community made us ghosts, and then they get worshipped, carry out Shraddh, offer Pind, the worship that this servant will tell. With this, no one will become ghost.
then no activity would be required for them. Pick was that since Satyug era till today, these Brahmans means these great sages and saints had no knowledge. They tell them God to Vishnu and Shankarji and Brahmaji, and they are not God. This is proved that they are not God. They kept telling them as God, as Ish. The Brahmans of Satyug do not have any knowledge. Since Satyug till today, Brahmans do not have knowledge of Vedas. Look, this is Srimad Devi Bhagavad, is published from Gita Press Gorakhpur. Editor is Hanuman Prasad Poddar, Chimanlal Goswami. This has been published by Gita Press Gorakhpur. We come to its 414th page. This is 414th page of concise Devi Bhagavad, 6th part. We will read from here. Janmejay asked Mahabhag, what has been the nature of religion in each era? Kindly tell this entire subject in detail. Vyasji replied, King, in Satyug, Brahmins had complete knowledge of the Vedas. They used to worship Bhagavati Jagdambika continuously. They always used to long for the sight of Bhagavati. Every village should establish a temple of Shakti, means there should be a temple of Durga. They had this eagerness. Tell, these Brahmins of Satyug, were they scholars? Look at Vyasji's knowledge that the Brahmins of Satyug were great scholars of Vedas and used to worship Durga. It's our misfortune that we had such acharyas. Durga says, worship that Brahm, Om is his mantra, nothing else, and abandon everything else. So since Satyug till today, these Brahmins, were they familiar with Vedas and Gita and Purans? They destroyed their own worship, their own life. Together with that, they have ruined the life of their followers. Now, this was regarding the Brahmanas of Satyug. Now the information regarding Brahmins of Kali Yuga who are present Shankracharya and Acharyas. These are Brahmins in Brahman clan. Look, the same 6th chapter is going on. We are reading on page 414. This we have read. Now we have come here. Vyasji is saying that similar religious situation was in Treta era, but some deterioration happened. The situation was in Satyug. That deteriorated further in Dwapar. King, in those ancient times, those who were considered to be demons are believed to be the Brahmins in Kali. Kali means Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, they are believed to be Brahmins because present Brahmins are eager for hypocrisy, to cheat others, to lie, and avoiding Vedic rituals has become the nature of Kali Yugi Brahmanas. Pious souls, this is the history of our Hindu religion's leaders and the spiritual knowledge provided by them. These Acharya and Shankracharya and our religious gurus do not know ABC of what our scriptures tell and what folklore do they use to tell us. What do they say? That creature is God. Mahatma Brahma, soul is God. And on the other hand, they say that worship Sri Krishna, Sri Vishnu Ji and Sri Shankar gods. On the other side, they worship goddess and they call them God. Regarding them, it is written, they are not God, whom they claim to be God, and told us to worship them. Pious souls, this is your fortune that God made you literate. God made this slave perfect in the spiritual knowledge. Now see, this knowledge will reach the whole world and all humans will have welfare. Hail Sat Gurudev.
निरंजन धन तेरा बार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार जहाँ पर तनिक ना न्याय विचार कहे कबीर सुनो भाई साधो या सब उल्टा व्यवहार। कहे कबीर सुनो भाई साधो या सब उल्टा व्यवहार। सच्चों को तो ये झूठा बतावे, इन झूठों का एतबार निरंजन। धन तेरा दरबार निरंजन, धन तेरा दरबार जहाँ पर तनिक न न्याय विचार।
God used to say, look, everyone has believed these liars and they tell me, a liar who is true, in झूठों का एतबार निरंजन धन तेरा दरबार।